Just so we're clear, let me say it. AI will be used to kill you. I don't know if you've seen the news stories about police using generative AI to create fake evidence for drug busts, or if you've taken the time to learn about Israel's Project Lavender, which uses AI to mark and target Palestinians to be slaughtered in Gaza.
Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world.
Palantir kills Palestinians with their AI and technology.
Oh. To scare enemies and
on occasion kill them.
Killing my family in Palestine.
Yeah. Mostly terrorists, that's true.
Our product is used on occasion to kill people.
Or how the White House has been using generative AI to serve the whims of their bloodthirsty white supremacist propaganda. But things aren't going well in this particular department. But luckily you've come across my propaganda, which isn't that, because my propaganda is trying to get you to believe something else, and that is that AI will be used to kill you. And even if it doesn't kill you, it might convince you to do the job yourself, because more and more people, including teenagers, are using ChatGPT to reinforce their suicidal tendencies, with ChatGPT gladly egging them on.
I do still think there are going to be some really strange or scary moments. The fact that, like, so far the technology has not produced a really scary giant risk doesn't mean it never will. But I expect some really bad stuff to happen because of the technology, which also has happened with previous technologies. And I think
all the way back to fire.
Yeah.
Sure, for some people, generative AI might have started out as some novelty. Oh look, I can produce videos of Will Smith eating spaghetti sloppy style. But it doesn't take long for that to quickly turn into, oh look, I can produce Taylor Swift porn. Or put words into the mouths of dead victims of school shootings.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement.
It's become rapidly apparent that this technology was not first and foremost going to be used for healthcare or science or make anyone's lives better. No, instead it was going to be used first and foremost to annoy the shit out of you. Make you learn about a whole subsect of irritating worms whose amygdala are so badly damaged that this generative AI technology renders them seemingly bonkers. Now, I grew up in Montana, which at the time had a horrible meth epidemic, so I constantly saw the Not Even Once billboard campaign with their slew of raw and often f***ed up images depicting the grim aspects of meth addiction. And I'm starting to think we need these for AI. I'm not even joking. People are absolutely cooking their brains with this dog shit. Look, it's public knowledge that AI is used by companies like United Healthcare to fraudulently deny you healthcare. And it turned out a lot of people were upset about that. It's almost like AI is being used to kill you. And listen, you've seen jobs being lost to AI. You know it's happening.
According to a jobs report, so far in 2025, more than 10,000 jobs nationwide have been lost to AI. Oracle announced Thursday it plans to cut 254 workers in Redwood City, Santa Clara, and Pleasanton. This latest round of layoffs comes after the company already eliminated 289 jobs in August. On Tuesday, Salesforce announced it will lay off 262 workers from its San Francisco headquarters. It comes just days after CEO Mark Benioff praised AI for allowing them to cut 4,000 customer support jobs. Meantime, Santa Clara-based Intel is in the process of reducing its workforce by 25% before the year is up.
And though there's a lot of people who are in denial about it, I'm looking at you, vibe coding AI bros, often saying things like,
AI can never replace workers because AI is nowhere near good enough to do a job of the human accurately.
And I have some news for you. The people running these companies who plan to replace you with AI do not care about how good or operational the AI is. They care about how cheap the AI is. Some people act like these companies are sitting around in boardrooms like,
well, we simply want to give a good and workable service to our customers.
They're not doing that. You might think your precious overinflated $200,000 salary coding job is safe from AI, but I think you'll learn soon enough that they aren't interested in producing a good, well-oiled working product. They're interested in getting rid of that salary of yours in exchange for something that doesn't have a salary, and more importantly, won't ever ask for workers' rights or try to unionize. If that means a shittier product, then so be it. Because what these corporations care about is turning a profit, accumulating capital, and maybe killing you along the way, that too. Because AI won't just be used to replace you. AI will be used to falsely incriminate you. It'll be used to slander you, undermine you.
Robin Williams died in 2014, but with artificial intelligence, fans are digitally resurrecting the star.
Hey, one without TikTok. How will I know if I'm happy without 247 strangers validating my breakfast?
AI will be used to spy on you. It'll be used to, yeah, still obviously annoy the shit out of you, that's a given. But please listen to me when I say this. AI will be used to kill you. And anyone who is staunchly pro-generative AI is susceptible to supporting that whether they know it or not. And it's happened before. The same way the Italian fascists utilized futurism as an art form to propagate their genocidal fantasies. Today's fascists are using generative AI. It's starting to feel like there's no other purpose for generative AI other than to enable the least creative dregs of society to have a simple and mindless way of spreading their hate. When Israel implements AI in their genocide against Palestinians with the full support and backing of the United States government and corporations like Palantir, with its eerie freakish overlord Peter Thiel, who's currently working with the US military and government to use AI to keep track of and document the political activity of US citizens. Do you think that same technology they use to genocide Palestinians won't be used against you in the future? Do you think you're immune to the full might of the US military-industrial complex? I wouldn't be so sure. These are war crimes being committed. And if we've learned anything since Israel started that genocide, it's that if what Israel is doing to Gaza isn't considered war crimes by the Western governments who have stood idly by and allowed it to happen, supporting it, encouraging it, while thousands and thousands of helpless and innocent people are targeted for genocide, then what those governments are willing to do to clamp down on dissent on their own soil is clear. This is the bar of control they want for the future, to reassign not only the definition of oppression and genocide, but also the permissible methods of extermination, such as how AI will be used to kill you.
Revealing that it takes that AI technology and uses it to target humans based on things like their social media, their contacts, movements, and how many times they change their SIM cards. Plus 972 and local calls say that they base their reporting on 6 sources, all from the Israeli military. What their story makes clear is that the taking of innocent Palestinian lives is not a flaw in the technology, it is a feature.
And as this AI bubble begins to burst, and let's be real, it's happening, these techno-fascists will try as hard as they can to keep a grasp on the technology. They will enforce it. They won't just let it go. One day you'll be making SpongeBob 9/11 memes, and the next day you'll be doing your mandatory daily Patriot check talking to your fascist government's AI app, which decides if you're a good little citizen, or if you're instead suitable for gas chambers and firing squads. And that's when you'll truly and finally realize that AI will be used to kill you.
Clap Little Boo. All right, we're back. What's going on, Goblin family? Gobheads. Gobs and gobettes. What's up, everybody? I hope you enjoyed that little video there. That was called AI Will Be Used to Redact You by Full Slack. Little channel there. Go show them some love. I'm going to pop the link in the thing again. Am I still muted? I'm coming through now, right? Yeah, I'm good. All right, cool. Yeah, that was upbeat. No, yeah, sorry. Hey, maybe this is not the most positive video to start the stream off with, but actually, I feel like pretty much everything else I have to talk about is kind of even more of a downer. Well, it depends on how you want to look at it. But yeah, let's go. Hey, what's going on, Stubids? Here at the beginning for the very first time. Smash that bell. Hit that like button. I don't know. Can you can like a stream while it's in progress? Hit the like button. Maybe that'll help. I'm not sure what to say. But also hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to me already, and hit the subscribe button over on Full Slack. Little channel putting out some high quality content. Let's help get old Slacky over the 1,000 subscribers threshold. And me, my second channel, Extra Chill Goblin, as well. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a happy Halloween. a happy Halloween and a good, I don't know, Devil's Night or whatever you call it. I had a fun time. I was what was I? A princess? No. I was a witch. I was the Glinda, the good witch from Wicked, and my girlfriend was the other one, Elphaba. Basically, my girlfriend watched that movie Wicked, like, I don't know, when it came out, like, oh God, that was forever ago that thing came out. But she watched it and she loved it. She was like, you know, she didn't have any tattoos, but she's like, I think I'm gonna get a Wicked tattoo. It's like one of those things. So here's us. Kind of my costume's a little bit lackluster, but I had been growing my hair basically for this costume. Yeah, I didn't really. Hers is better. She even has like the weird yin yang glasses there. But check us out. We're doing it. We did the Halloween. Hope you guys had a good Halloween too. I don't know. I guess that's pretty much all I got to say about that. I don't know. I'm trying to get to put in stuff about my life. Is that good? Is that enough stuff? Are you guys forming a parasocial bond with me now that you saw a picture of me on Halloween? It's hard to do this. I don't know. Maybe I should just do what I really want to do here, which is talk about Epstein. I'm not comfortable talking about myself. And we got a lot of new Epstein news came in this week. Honestly, it's been kind of nuts. I was not expecting, when I started doing these streams, I was kind of like, you know what? There's a lot of things about Epstein that just have been unsaid that I'd like to sort of do streams about and talk about them and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I want to be able to clear up some like common misconceptions around Epstein. That was my original plan. And it turned out like there's just new Epstein news like every fucking week. So I haven't really done as much of that as I thought I'd be doing. And this week I got one giant thing. Why don't we start out with a little bit of a smaller thing, but still huge. So this is concerning Buckingham Palace. Buckingham, a statement from Buckingham Palace. I hate that this fucking. No, why do you need all of my cookies, Buckingham Palace? There are no necessary cookies for you. There are no cookies that are necessary. Look at this. Grayed out necessary. I just want to look at the page with your public statement on it. Why do you need to know anything about my fucking browsing habits? Get out of there, fucking you evil German guys that run England for some reason. All right, whatever. Fucking fuck the royals. But they put out this thing a couple days ago on Halloween Eve. Yeah, Finland Station. In 2019, when I first got Epstein brain, I definitely did not think it would be one of the top stories in the country in 2025. Yeah, I remember 2019, I was like, why isn't this a bigger news story? Why isn't everyone talking about it? Why do I have to constantly explain who Epstein is to everyone I want to have a conversation about this? Yeah, it weirdly does, Joshua Mowdy. Yeah, it weirdly does. A lot of Epstein guys do connect back to Iran-Contra. It is a little bit weird in that way. But this part, this is, I guess good news, sort of. While Donald Trump has kind of not experienced, I guess like even one single consequence as to anything that has come out about him, there was something that happened with another guy like that, Prince Andrew, who's accused by Virginia Giuffre of sexual assault. He paid her, I think it was, what was it, £12 million? Although he claimed he never met her. He did a disastrous interview on the BBC where he claimed he couldn't sweat. It's like, actually, the funny thing is, she said I was sweaty, and that's very preposterous. I actually don't sweat. I'm a prince. I don't sweat, or fart, or poop. Yes, I'm royal, and I don't do any of those gross peasant things. I don't know. He had a weird, he had a very weird excuse as to why you shouldn't believe his accuser here. But another thing he said was that he stopped hanging out with Epstein immediately once he knew about his crimes in like 2004 or wherever. Or I guess like a little bit later than that, in the 2000s. Whenever it was that he became aware of it, he stopped hanging out with him. And then recently, I don't know if you guys have been following the Epstein news. I know a lot of you guys have, but there's been a lot of fucking email drops lately. Email drops are like the new thing with Epstein. Every fucking week, another journalist is like, we got more Epstein shit. Look at this. Oh, we got more Epstein shit over here. Look at this. Oh, we got even more Epstein shit over here. And they're emails. There's all these leaked emails from different sources, it seems like. But emails are a lot different than obviously, it's important when a woman comes forward or any survivor of sexual assault comes forward with allegations that we listen to them and we take them seriously. However, of course, that isn't someone's word in that case, no matter how much we might personally believe them, isn't ironclad, smoking gun evidence of a crime. However, looking at these emails that just recently leaked with Prince Andrew, where he's like talking to Epstein and he's going, oh, don't worry, and this is after the time he's like, I told him absolutely we will never hang out again. We are not bros anymore. We've finished being bros forever. After that point, way after that point, there's emails that have leaked of Prince Andrew being like, oh, I hope we can play sometime soon. Oh, we will play together again. Don't worry, keep your head up. Keep calm and carry on, old chum, or whatever. He's like, well, Epstein's going to jail, and he's like, oh, it's frightfully unfair that you have to go into jail just because of a few thousand young girls you assaulted. That's so gross, so silly. Would never happen over here in merry old jolly old London town where I'm from. Anyway, I don't know. Yo, what the fuck, Godels? YouTube wouldn't let you keep your old name? That is anti-Viking discrimination. I don't even know what you call that. Scandophobia or something like that? That's fucked up, dude. What about all the hobbits that use that runic alphabet as well? Yo, I am not okay with that. Well, all right, Flash Motor Works. You have a much less it's not. Your name was a lot more heavy metal before. Now you seem like you run like a auto shop or something like that. I don't know. Flash Motor Works. But welcome. Yeah, no, it is fucking lame. It's lame as hell. Maybe there's a way you can do it with ASCII or whatever. I don't know. Probably not. Don't listen to me. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so all this shit recently came out about Prince Andrew, and a consequence happens to him finally. Guess what? Okay, so this is from the fucking BuckinghamPalace.com or whatever. Well, it's actually royal.uk. Royal.uk. God, I hate it. I hate this whole fucking concept. A statement from Buckingham Palace. What fucking year is it? There's a royal family. His Majesty has today initiated, hear ye, ding dong, like the town crier, Is that what this is, basically? Hear ye, let all ye who are within range hear and know thusly. His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, capital S on style, titles, capital T on titles, and honors, capital H on honors, of Prince Andrew. Okay, didn't you guys invent the English language? Why the fuck are you capitalizing these words? Those are just normal nouns. They don't need to be capitalized. Moving on. Prince Andrew will now be... So he's not a prince anymore, guys. By the way, this is fucking also stupid. Everything about this is these fucking freaks, these inbred freaks is stupid. But before, this was his name. Prince Andrew. It wasn't like Prince isn't like Mr. or something like that. No. When he was a prince, his name was Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. So he suddenly, okay, now he's got a regular human name. I mean, it still sounds, if you're like, oh, I'm meeting up with somebody, what's his name? Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. You'd be like, oh, fuck, he sounds like a fucking posh, rich asshole. Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Oh, what a frightful turn of events. What a horrible consequence. His lease on Royal Lodge has to date provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice now been served to surrender the lease. You'll now move to alternative private accommodation. I feel like my voice is becoming more inbred as I continue to read. So what does that mean? He got kicked out of the Royal Lodge? His lease on Royal Lodge. I guess that's where he lives. Place sounds awesome. It's probably like made of wood or something. Formal notice now been served to surrender these. So he's got to move somewhere. That he's got to start fucking move out, pay his own rent. These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him. Yes, that's right, Finland Station. He's going to have to rent a flat, to use the appropriate nomenclature. I believe they call them there. Their Majesties wish to make it clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse. And then how do they end it? See, you would think like the way this is, oh, His Majesty is, but the way that it ends is literally ends with a S. What the fuck? Do you mean, why don't you say like sincerely, what the fuck is this? Ends? Is this like a fucking telegram or something? Anyway, I hate this. So weird, so bizarre that this exists. England, fucking, can someone overthrow these guys, please? You're embarrassing the world. You're embarrassing humans. You guys are trying to be like a fucking first world superpower country, and you guys have a king. Anyway, not really satisfying to me. I'll tell you the truth. Like, okay, he's not a prince anymore. Like, if anything, that's like better. Like, it's less embarrassing that he's just got a human name. That's not a fucking consequence. Oh, I guess he moved. Oh, he had to leave the Royal Lodge. Now he has to rent a flat of his own. Okay, everyone has to do that shit. Anyway, I find this deeply unsatisfying. And also the fact that, of course, this had to happen like after Virginia Giuffre died. They never fucking acknowledged anything while she was living. Brutal. But we also got, they also got, yeah, that's true, Finland. Yeah, as a Canadian, they are technically my royal family too. We still got the Queen on our money. So I guess we'll be getting the King soon. I don't know. God, I'm not excited for that. Really fucking stupid. Anyone who is at all in favor of the royals, I don't understand what your argument could possibly be. But we also got another official statement about all this from Virginia Giuffre's family, the cool ones of her family anyway. They gave a statement to People magazine. Virginia Giuffre family's emotional statement after Prince Andrew stripped of title. Today, she declares victory. And it's funny, like when Virginia Giuffre, when she was first trying to get the story out, she went to all these like mainstream publications, and she went to all like, whatever, these places, from what I understand. And the only place that actually published anything were these like tabloids, like celebrity gossip things like People magazine and National Enquirer and shit. And so here we are, 2025, now that everyone's like, actually, it turns out that everything Virginia said has checked out, and even the fucking royal family has acknowledged that actually, yeah, she did have a point, and her fucking family has still got to go to People magazine to get her shit out. Is there any movement in Canada to disconnect Canada from the British Royals? I mean, there's a lot of people who like don't like that we're part of it, but it's so ingrained in us that I mean, I wouldn't say that there's like a movement or any, motion in that way. Yeah, there should be. Hopefully there will be soon. R.I.P. Virginia, indeed. Started reading her book actually today. I got her book that was published. Really hard to read. It's a lot of, if you read the unpublished manuscript that was out for a while, The Billionaire's Playboy Club, excuse me, it's a lot of similar stuff in there, but man, it's a rough read. I actually set the book down right as it got to the moment that she met Ghislaine Maxwell. But the first part of the book is just all this horrifying abuse, like sexual assault and sex trafficking and shit that she went through as a young child that did not even involve Epstein at all. Oh my God, it's so heavy. It's like some of the hardest shit you'll ever read, or at least that I've ever read. Really insane how much she went through, and was still like the type of person who was like, no, you know what? Like, I'm actually going to stand up and try to get some of these like extremely powerful men who, took advantage of me when I was a child. I'm going to try and give them a fucking consequence, try to let people know what happened. Anyway, so she passed away recently. Oh man, another thing. Sorry, I'll get off this in a second. This is really depressing, but another thing about it is she talks in her thing. It's like it'll kind of go back and forth between like really messed up things she went through, and it'll show like happy moments of her childhood. But it especially will jump to like normal like life as an adult with her husband in Australia and her kids in Australia, and like she's sort of like trying to reassure you as you read it, like, don't worry, like everything's fucked up when I'm like 12, but like, hey, remember, I end up having a beautiful family and a wonderful husband and a great life in Australia later, like many years in the future. So remember, this is coming. But the other thing is that like before she died, right before election the day, she commits suicide. But before all that shit happened, it came out that like her husband, her Australian husband, I forget his name, was abusing her as well, like physically, domestic violence kind of thing. And that seems to have been a major factor in her suicide. So the book is complicated because it's painting this kind of rosy picture of her life with this guy. And he did a bunch of fucked up things to her, it turns out. So her family, who we're about to hear from about Prince Andrew, her family was like conflicted about publishing the book because they're like, God, but it makes this guy seem like such an angel, but we know he wasn't. Like, we talked to her before he died. And so the book opens with a long introduction about that. And like, hey, by the way, like, just so you have the full picture here, things also sucked when she was an adult for her. And it just makes the book so much more depressing. Like, even the parts that are trying to be uplifting, you read them and you're like, oh God, but that isn't even the full story. Anyway, R.I.P. Virginia, incredible person, incredibly brave, everything that she did, extremely admirable, huge fan of her. But I'll have more to say about the book next week. I think I can finish it by next week, and then I'll go over some of the new revelations. But anyway, so here we go. Virginia Giuffre's family has reacted to Prince Andrew being stripped of his royal titles amid ongoing uproar over his ties to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, calling the unprecedented move by King Charles a victory. On Thursday, October 30th, Buckingham Palace announced that Andrew 65 will no longer be known as Prince or His Royal Highness, among other titles. Again, like, oh, wow. Like, he's not going to be known as His Royal Highness? Wow, that's crazy. There's a fucking, I think the email that he sends to Epstein where he's like, I hope we'll play together soon. I think he signs it off HRH, His Royal Highness. So he won't be able to do that anymore. Yes, she did get hit by a bus, or so she's in some sort of accident, I think recently, like before she died, but then she committed suicide as what I understand what happened. Anyway, His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew, the palace said, adding that he'll now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He will also lose the living arrangements at the Royal Lodge in Windsor. Okay. The stunning announcement comes after the October 21st release of Giuffre's explosive posthumous book, Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice, in which she detailed the 3 times she was allegedly made to have sex with the former royal when she was just 17 years old. Imagine having your style removed. Oh, God! Oh, I'm nothing without my style. Like, what does that even fucking mean? The outspoken Epstein victim, who died by suicide earlier this year at 41, wrote that she was introduced to Andrew by Ghislaine Maxwell, now a convicted sex offender serving out a 20-year prison sentence, and Epstein, who died in jail in 2019 while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. Yeah. Funny, they do say Virginia died by suicide, and then Epstein, at this point, even People Magazine's like, let's just say he died in jail, because we don't actually know. In addition to the news about Andrew, Giuffre's brother Sky Roberts and his wife Amanda Roberts issued a statement to People, saying, today, an ordinary American girl from an ordinary American family brought down a British prince with her truth and extraordinary courage. Virginia Roberts Giuffre, our sister, a child when she was sexually assaulted by Andrew, never stopped fighting for accountability for what had happened to her and to countless other survivors like her. The statement continues. Today, she declares victory. Andrew has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. In 2022, he reached an out-of-court settlement with Giuffre, which included a statement in which he expressed regret for his association with Epstein, but contained no admission of liability or apology. In her memoir, Giuffre detailed how she met Andrew on March 10th, 2001 in Maxwell's London home and recalled posing for a now infamous picture with him, taken on her Kodak Funsaver. After going out to dinner and dancing at a club, Maxwell allegedly told her, when we get home, you ought to do to him what you do for Jeffrey, she wrote. There's the famous photo we all know. Crazy that this guy was allowed to deny this shit. There's so much fucking evidence. Anyway, but now that we've got the emails, okay, now that we got the emails, it does seem... Actually, now he's got to lose his style. That's your punishment, buddy. Back at the house, Maxwell and Epstein said goodnight and headed upstairs, signaling it was time that I take care of the prince. In the years since, I've thought a lot about how he behaved. He was friendly enough, but still entitled, as if he believed having sex with me was his birthright. Ugh. Yeah. He was friendly enough, but entitled, as if he believed having sex with me was his birthright. I mean, that's just another reason we got to get rid of the fucking royal family. No one should grow up being like, no, you're literally a prince. You are actually, by blood, superior to 99.9% of the people that you will ever meet in this life. And you can do with them whatever you want. They are your fucking royal subjects. You know? Anyway, not saying that that's an excuse. But we should just not have that. Moving on here. Third time she claimed she was made to have sex with Andrew was with Epstein and 8 other young girls on the 72-acre island Epstein owned in the U.S. Virgin Islands. She wrote, Andrew was a prince, and since birth had been known as His Royal Highness as a son of then reigning monarch Queen Elizabeth. He was given the title Duke of York, Duke of York, Duke of York, which is how he was largely known by his late mother on his wedding day to Sarah Ferguson in 1986. I don't understand what this... I see, sorry. He was given the title of Duke of York, which is how he was largely known, by his late mother on his wedding day to Sarah Ferguson in 1986. Okay, that was confusing to read, but now I understand. His mom gave him that name on his wedding, and that's how he was mostly known. Andrew stepped back from his public royal role in 2019 following his controversial BBC interview in which he discussed his relationship with Epstein. Giuffre's family says that they, along with Virginia's survivor sisters, that's like, you know, the name that Epstein's victims have for each other. They call themselves survivor sisters. Hey, scummy! Scummy, scummy, scum, scum, scum. Thank you for the money. Oh boy, I will spend it wisely. By the way, guys, big milestone moment for the Extra Chill Goblin channel. Just recently got super chat ability. So thanks for all your support. I had to hit a certain number of subscribers, have a certain number of views or watch time hours or something like that. And I'm working my way up. Actually, the next thing I got to do is, that's USD too, dude. That's like rent for me. I live in fucking Montreal. That'll go a long way. I can make that last. But that is actually my first super chat on Extra Chill Goblin. So thank you, Scum. Aw, thanks, Scum. 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 Love it. All right. Now I'm a professional streamer all of a sudden. Rap. What? Where was I going with that? No, I had more to say. Oh, right. I was just reading. Survivor sisters. That's what they call each other. It's kind of cool. Like, all of these women, there are probably literally thousands of women who were, molested by Epstein as young girls. And one kind of nice thing about the publicity about Epstein and like people coming forward and stuff is that a lot of these women have connected with each other, and they all realize how much they have in common. Like they all kind of look very similar. Excuse me. They're all, they went through a similar thing. Epstein did the same tricks on all of them. So they have this sort of very relatable trauma, and they have this sisterhood that is actually, like reading about Epstein, a lot of the shit is extremely depressing and makes you like ashamed to be human. Like, honestly, it's really kind of tough to read a lot of it, but this is one like little ray of light. The whole concept of the survivor sisters, which Virginia was like one of the like central like grounding figures among the survivor sisters. So they have a real kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but like I get the sense they have a very collective kind of bond, I guess. Anyway, it's cool, I think. Moving on. Giuffre's family says that they, along with Virginia's survivor sisters, will continue her battle and will not rest until the same accountability applies to all of the abusers and abettors connected to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Cool. Can't wait for them to drop their list, which apparently they are going to do at some point. Drop a list of the Epstein client list that everybody was all worked up about. There is no list. There is no list. People would say, like me, I was like, I don't think there's a list, but they're like, well, we could write one. I mean, we know who it is. Really easy to think if it weren't for Virginia, Epstein would still be free and alive. I mean, yeah, seriously, like out of anyone, Virginia was the one who was like, no, fuck it. I'm going to the Daily Mail. I'm going to this. She was doing this in fucking like way back in the like 2000s, like way before, Miami Herald dropped the Perversion of Justice series in 2019 or 2018, was it? I always forget. I always mix that up. God, I'm bad with dates. I talk so much about Epstein, and like there are some really major dates I should know. I think Perversion of Justice was 2018. That's when I think most people kind of found out about it. But she was out there even before that. before anyone even really knew anything. But yeah, kind of nice to read. Like I'm glad that they got a little victory. It's a little, yeah. Okay. November 2018. Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks, Finland. Yeah, I have to say, like, it's good over. Yeah, I guess it's good that he doesn't have a, you know, what do you call it? Title and style, and what was the other one? Some other thing. Title, honors. He doesn't have title, style, or honors, but also none of that stuff is real. That's all fucking make believe, fucking Narnia gobbledygook. That's nonsense. No one gives a fuck about that shit except for the biggest losers on earth. People who treat the royal family like they're the Kardashians. They make, you know, reality TV obsessive fans seem like, you know, I don't know, like normal, like intellectuals or something. Like the people who idolize this family are, I just don't understand them. I don't get it. And I don't care. I don't really care about any of this, although I'm glad that it made some people connected to Virginia Giuffre happy. But I'm going to need to see a lot more. Obviously, just because he's no longer now he's not a prince. Now he's Andrew whatever Windsor. I guess now he's he can maybe go to jail. You know, obviously he still has like access to an insane amount of money. Best lawyers money can buy. You know, consequences don't tend to happen to people like that. So even this purely symbolic one is, I guess, a victory. Yeah, I'm sure he feels bad. I'm sure he feels really, really bad. All right. Now, this is the one I was excited about. So I haven't actually gone over this yet, but this is a fucking crazy story. I read a little bit about this article elsewhere. I mean, I actually saved this. Seth Harp. Has anybody read Seth Harp's book, Fort Bragg Cartel, that just came out? Fucking phenomenal book. Really, really good. So it's just so much crazy shit over and over again. Like every page you're like, what the fuck? It's about the what's it called, special ops in the U.S. Military out of Fort Bragg in the U.S. We're running drugs, like, you know, doing all these fucking illegal gang activities and basically becoming untouchable. Yeah. You pre-ordered. Have you read it, Finland? It's yeah. You read. Yeah. So fucking good, and huge success. It was like a bestseller, whatever, New York Times list, however you do it, and yeah. Anyway, really good. But how will he pick up? but how is Prince Andrew going to pick up underage girls now, if not dazzling them with his titles and style? Without his style, he's nothing. Oh, nice, Joshua Mowdy. How'd you swing that? You one of the proofreaders? Yeah, highly recommend his book. Anyway, he did post this, which I thought was so that he retweets the article that we're about to read. Jeffrey Epstein was an elite Israeli intelligence asset and Israeli national security operator who worked for the government of Israel. The proof is definitive and the case is closed. Okay. And then we got this one. This is a little interview from the guys from, what's it called? Breaking Points. Yeah, I watched this interview. I'm not going to go over it now. It's like kind of long, but I mean, it's interesting though, where he sort of summarizes the article. And but I was looking for it because this tweet says, and this is a tweet from DropSite, like the, you know, site that published the article we're about to read. And it says, case closed. Ryan Grimm says Epstein's Mossad connection confirmed. I'm like, wow, that's like pretty intense. That's very, like, you know, clear, definitive language. But I was trying to find the part of this interview where he says that, but I don't know. I don't think he said it, but it's also 17 minutes, so I didn't really have time to go back and check. Yeah, there's some nuts shit in Fort Bragg cartel about Israel. Yes, definitely. How they weren't allowed to monitor Israel or whatever, critique or have questions about how much fucking shit they were giving to Israel. Mm-hmm. There's some crazy stuff in that book. So, yeah, I thought let's go through it. Let's do it. And also, so I'm a little bit. I feel like my framing is a bit off. Hang on. This is gonna be weird. This is almost gonna feel like being naked, but I gotta adjust. The thing. So this is what I look like. Oh man, make myself a little bit bigger. And then how's this? It feels a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. The way the OBS works, I don't even know how to explain it. I have to have a whole scene with I do that. What is it with Israel and protecting sex offenders? Fort Bragg cartel, should you read it? I think, yeah, I recommend it. I mean, look it up. Look up the a summary of it and see if it floats your boat. But it's really nuts. It's really an insane story. I don't even know how to summarize it. But anyway, all right, gang, let's get into it. Jeffrey Epstein and the Mossad, how the sex trafficker helped Israel build a back channel to Russia amid Syrian civil war. This is the craziest thing to me is we read a little bit earlier about, this is from the same hacked emails from Ehud Barak. But we read another article from Drop Site where they were talking about how, Epstein had connected Ehud Barak with people in Mongolia and was it's crazy reading some of Epstein's emails because you realize he literally is doing the thing that seems so tinfoil hat. Like when people are like, it's not like there's a guy literally saying do this, do that, and connecting people and trying to blah, blah, blah. But then you read shit like this and it's like, holy fuck, Epstein was literally doing that. It's Epstein just knew everyone and everyone was like, Epstein's calling? Yeah, I'll pick up. What's up, bro? What's up, buddy? Yeah, you want me to touch your boy, Ehud Barak? Of course, man. What am I going to say? No to you, man? Of course. It just feels like Epstein had that kind of pull with fucking everyone. Yeah. The emails. Oh, so now we don't like Epstein because his emails leaked. Well, sorry, he wasn't on a private server. Blah, 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 blah. That's nuts. Yeah, I mean, I'd heard him on, I think, TrueAnon back in the day, right? Before the book came out. Anyway, but here we go. All right, so there we go. On the right here, there's Ehud Barak, who they credit here, Israeli defense minister, I believe. So Ehud Barak obviously was the prime minister of Israel. He then became the Israeli defense minister. And he was also, and I think this is right, but let me just double check, the highest decorated soldier in the IDF of all time, something like that. Ehud Barak, Lieutenant General Ehud Barak. Hang on. Israeli former defense minister, IDF, military career, spanned 35 years, culminated in his appointment as Chief of General Staff. His military tenure is noted for his leadership in several operations, Operation Isotrope. Okay, yes, so a Lieutenant General, Barak shares with two others the honor of being the most highly decorated soldier in Israel's history. So, don't be fooled. I know this guy looks like a fucking dweeb, but this guy did some fucking bad shit. This guy did some bad stuff. Even for Israel, and even for an Israeli politician, even for an Israeli soldier, this guy has done some unspeakable things. Even for a fucking close friend of Jeffrey Epstein, even for a guy who was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein literally the week he was arrested, still was regularly chilling with the guy. This guy is bad. This guy is a bad person. All right, let's get into this article But there he is with another bad person, Vladimir Putin. I'm a bad guy. Went to a Halloween party and, apropos of nothing, went to a Halloween party and there was like music playing and that fucking Billie Eilish song, Bad Guy, played 3 times. Not in a row. Just like within, I would say, like an hour and a half. 3 times. And I was just kind of like, what the fuck? What? 3 times? What's going on? Did they put it on the playlist 3 times? What the hell? And then I was talking to the host and she was like, check this out. This is so cool. She's like kind of like older, right? She's like maybe in her 40s. Older than me anyway. Slightly, I say, as a young 36-year-old. But she was like, check this out. It's so cool. It's an AI DJ. You just give it like 3 or 4 songs and then it'll watch this. And it's like creating like a 5-hour playlist and it automatically fades in and out each song and keeps the BPM right and like whatever. It like does like, it makes it seem like there's a DJ there. And I was like, I mean, that's cool. And I didn't say this to her because I'm not an asshole, but in my head I was like, oh, that's why I heard that Billie Eilish song 3 times. It's a good song. It's just, AI is not good. Is that true? Oh, I didn't know that feeling. Apparently, so Harp got his book deal from an editor hearing him on True Anon. That's funny. Yeah. There's something about, I feel like there's a cutoff generation wise where like AI shit just does not bother them at all. They just like it, But if you're like under a certain age, you're just like, oh God, oh, terrible. Yeah. AI DJ shit, it's rough. It's rough out there. All right, guys. Sorry. I'm going to try and get through this. This is kind of a long article. So let me try and get through this. Jeffrey Epstein facilitated efforts to open a back channel between Israel and the Kremlin during the Syrian civil war, according to leaked emails from former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. The trove of emails exchanged at the height of the Syrian civil war between 2013 and 2016 reveal Epstein's successful efforts to secure a private meeting between Barak and Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss a Russian-brokered end to the conflict, including winning Russian support for a negotiated removal of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Epstein was an invaluable resource for Israel's former prime minister, who also served as head of intelligence and defense minister throughout his career, sharing whispers from within Russian elite circles and intel on Putin's interlocutors in Europe and the US, and even advising him on how to engage with the Mossad. Barak, fresh out of his role as Israeli defense minister, built a deep portfolio of investments and business relationships around the world with Epstein's help. And this is what I think a lot of people got out of their relationship with Epstein. Like people like Leon Black or Les Wexner or, a lot of people who were paying him a ton of money. What did they get out of their relationship with him? I think what they got was access to people that Epstein knew. Because Epstein knew everybody. Epstein knew everyone, and even if he didn't know everybody, he knew a lot of like the most powerful, most famous people. He could get you on a phone call with Bill Clinton. He could get you on a phone call with Prince Andrew, get you on a phone call with Peter Mandelson, whatever, Donald Trump, whoever, Ehud Barak, Woody Allen, Leon Black, all these people. And I think that was a massive, part of his appeal, Moving on. On February 21st, 2014, Epstein wrote to Barak, with civil unrest exploding in Ukraine, Syria, Somalia, spelled wrong, of course, Libya, and the desperation of those in power, isn't this perfect for you? This is what I'm saying, guys. Did you see that? Did you guys see what Epstein wrote to him? With civil unrest exploding in Ukraine, Syria, Somalia, Libya, and the desperation of those in power, isn't this perfect for you? Oh, Jesus. Barak replied, "You're right in a way, but not simple to transform it into a cash flow, a subject for Saturday." Literally, like, this seems like a bad action movie, like, villain dialogue. You know what I mean? Like, this is literally what people like. like make fun of conspiracy theorists for thinking. And here these guys are. Oh, isn't it great how the world is in turmoil? Oh, doesn't that help us? Yes, but it's not as easy to turn it. The problem, but it's like it almost sounds like he's like, you're right in a way, but it's almost sounds like he's being like, well, obviously it's sad when people die, but no. He's like, but the problem is it's not easy to figure out how to get money out of the suffering. Maybe you can help me. Boy. Yeah. Wait, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, you're talking about the AI DJ. Okay, yeah, man, definitely could have been. But I like when I listen to Spotify or whatever, and the Spotify algorithm will start playing other songs, but it doesn't repeat songs. You know, like this was like a worse than whatever. I guess it's technically a form of AI, but whatever like Spotify Shuffle does. Anyway, these efforts also provided cover for covert diplomacy on behalf of the Israeli government. Together, Barak and Epstein sought to pressure the Obama administration to either intervene directly in the Syrian war or make concessions to the Kremlin in exchange for Assad's graceful exit. In their exchanges, Epstein expressed his frustration at the Obama administration's failures to contain Tehran as the two men searched for opportunities to promote U.S. strikes on Iran. Yeah, it's interesting because I believe all of these emails were leaked. It was Ehud Barak's like Gmail account hacked by, it looks like, Iran. So it's funny to know that. Excuse me. We found shit out about them. Despite securing a sit-down with Putin in the summer of 2013, they did not succeed in convincing Russia to support Assad's ouster, but their negotiations set the stage for U.S.-Russia cooperation on disarmament of Syria's chemical weapons arsenal a few months later. Michael Oren, former Israeli ambassador to the U.S., wrote in his memoir that Israel's diplomatic leadership was told to avoid being perceived as a player in Syria. Clandestine actors sought to shape agendas in Moscow and Washington, while Israeli officials denied involvement and used the media to legitimize red lines for airstrikes inside Syria. So, okay, this is a little bit convoluted. But it's interesting, though, that this whole operation, right, with the war in Syria and everything, Epstein is ostensibly, at least to the people in Russia and the U.S., acting as a go-between for those two countries. But really, and again, this is crazy because it sounds like tinfoil hat shit, he's really doing everything for Israel. Like, it's all sort of like according to whatever plan that he had with, Ehud Barak and his connections in Israel. That's at the center of all this. After their failed attempts to remove Assad, Barak and Epstein sought to leverage the Russian channel again in 2015, as Barak pushed for U.S. strikes on Iran and rejected Obama's nuclear deal framework. Probably the single best thing Obama did, period, right? As president. I guess gay marriage was good too. Barak failed to convince the Obama administration to change course. The plot, nevertheless, illustrated Epstein's knack for steering the superpowers toward Israel's interests by leveraging a social network that intersected the Israeli, American, and Russian intelligence communities. Yeah, I do feel like there is some shit that's left out about Epstein's connections to Russia. I do think Epstein was basically like a free agent, like kind of working with everyone. But yeah, I understand that was, I don't know. Gay marriage wasn't Obama, it was the Supreme Court. Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. So then the Iran deal. But what was I going to say? Barack failed to convince the Obama administration to change course. Oh, yes. So the plot nevertheless illustrated Epstein's knack for steering the superpowers toward Israel's interests by leveraging a social network that intersected Israeli, American, and Russian intelligence communities. Yeah, I mean, so like, I'm sure if you guys have seen the show before, something I often say is like, I feel like the focus on Mossad and the Israel connections with Epstein, probably a good deal of it anyway, comes from the fact that Israel is on everyone's mind lately, with the genocide and, Holocaust happening in Gaza, the West Bank, and, and Israel proper. But I have pointed out in the past, like, but I bet if we were having this moment where we all of a sudden cared about Epstein, if this was happening in 2016, like if this was the route that fucking the Democrats had decided to take a fucking decade ago, then we would probably be more focused on the Russia connections, because in 2016, we were all talking about Russia. So this is interesting because it's sort of like, this is evidence that actually, Israel was the power player here. He was working with Russia. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of fucking shit with Russia, but it does seem from this anyway, that everything that he was doing for America, Russia, blah, 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 it was mainly geared, so the plot illustrated Epstein's knack for steering the superpowers toward Israel's interests. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's interesting. The leaked emails come from the same archive previously reported by DropSite, materials released by the hackers known as Handala and disseminated by distributed denial of secrets. That is the new WikiLeaks, basically, they're trying to be. DDO Secrets, I think it's ddosecrets.com. And you can go on here, you can download over 100,000 emails and their attachments. You can download all that shit, and you can fucking search through them. You can find all this stuff, which I do. In fact, I do have that stuff. I mean, should I look up some of these things? I wonder if we could find out anything new. Hang on then. Hang on just a minute there. How do I even do that? Oh, I've done it before. I did it before, I promise. Hang on. I gotta figure this out. Well, actually, I guess it doesn't really matter. But it is kind of fun, though. You can search through. You can find a bunch of new shit. Fuck it. Let me just do it real quick. Hang on. Okay. Computer. I got to make another scene on OBS. I thought I had done this already, but now I can't find it. Oh, it was only when I have a guest that I figured it out. Okay, that makes sense. So if I go, I'm going to add a news input. Sorry, I got to talk out loud so I can figure this out and talk at the same time without distracting myself. Video capture device? No, that's not what I want. Screen capture device, or what's it called again? Media source? No. What do you call it? What is it called? Oh, jeez, guys, this is not easy. Siphon client. Video capture device. Wait, do they not have? Oh, wait, deprecated. All right, whatever. Window capture. Yes, I will do a new window capture. Emails, let's call it. Oh, sorry guys, hang on. I know this sucks and it's boring, but give me like 2 seconds. I'm almost there. Doc Fetcher is the name of the thing. Doc Fetcher. Oh, it's not. Really? It's not there? Oh boy. Okay, maybe I'll just do instead of that, I'll do display capture. Then it'll have to work. Oh, guys, don't look at my OBS thing. Quit it. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, hang on. Let me crop this. Let me crop this real quick. There we go. Boom. Here it is. Okay. And I can actually, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to see the full screen, I guess, but you really only need the bottom corner, which is where everything shows up, but well, whatever. We'll do it like this. So here's my little doc fetcher. I go into the Ehud Barak emails. And then, oh, okay, I guess I search up here. And what am I searching for? Oh, geez. Yeah, let's find that one where they're like, yes, we'll control the world, with civil unrest exploding in Ukraine. Let's just call that. Let's just put that in. Search. Oh, there's a bunch of them. What if I put it in quotes? Okay. Oops. Jeez. Did not need to do that. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so here it is. Look at this, guys. This is it's as easy as that. It'd be easier if you guys did it, but it's not hard to find this stuff. With civil unrest exploding in Ukraine, Syria, Somalia, Libya, and the desperation of those in power, isn't this perfect for you? Imagine sending that to somebody. And like he says, he spells Somalia wrong. We've talked before, we think Epstein was probably just dyslexic, but still seems fucked up that you should be in a position where you can like kind of orchestrate the fucking future shaping a country that you can't even spell the name of. That seems fucked up. And then we have Ehud Barak's response. You're right, INOA, but not simple to transform it into cash flow. A subject for Saturday. These guys are so evil. These are evil guys. Oh, okay, if I double click it, for some reason it opens it in Chrome. But yeah. Anyway. Okay, now that we've got that, let's go back to this stuff and read more of the article. With civil unrest exploding in Ukraine, serious blah, 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 blah. No, we already read all that stuff. Where were we? No, okay, we were around here. Yes. The emails include extensive, previously unpublished documents and photographs from Barak's inner circle, including non-public information verified as accurate by DropSite. Many documents from the Handala hack were independently validated by records released by the U.S. House Oversight Committee this month. Our ongoing series reveals how Epstein used elite networks and quasi-official institutions to promote Israeli security interests and enrich his circle of friends and companions. This story follows the same pattern, with the highest of stakes, a chaotic war on Israel's ever-expanding border and the balance of power between the United States and Russia. Barak did not respond to a request for comment. Oh, that's surprising. Not really. Epstein died in jail in New York during the first Trump administration. The news outlet, the B7D, previously reported on some of the correspondence. All right, well, let's get into it. The Kremlin holds the keys. Scummy. Scummy. Wait a second. Okay, hang on. Scum, you're giving me a live chat is set to top, not live. Oh, wait, how do I change that? Oh, top chat. Okay, live chat. Oh, is that what that is? Okay, I never actually knew that. But wait, how do I refund it? Is that easy? Hang on. Listen, I'm new at this. $5. Go to channel. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it, man. I'm not trying to steal your money here. Hide user, put user, report, go to channel activity. Geez, guys. Yeah, man. I really don't know how to do this. What's up, Hot Goblin? About an hour. we've been going. Yeah, Jeff played dumb. He was neurotic. Yeah, I mean, yeah, dyslexia doesn't mean you're dumb. Epstein was kind of dumb. He was like an inch thick when it came to deep knowledge of any subject. I sort of think that, yeah, like I think Epstein was probably like a reasonably smart guy, but he was just like very skilled at convincing people he was like a genius. Some people. When he ended up talking to people who did know what they were talking about, they would get sick of him pretty quickly unless they had a vested interest in talking to him. But a lot of rich people are actually quite stupid. You know, even billionaires, believe it or not, a lot of billionaires are fucking morons. And when they, you know, talk to each other, when they talk to somebody who's presenting themselves as a smart guy, not easy. Sorry, Scum. I actually can't figure out how to refund it, but I'll look into this after the stream. But I appreciate that the $5 costs to get me to learn about what live chat is. I think I've switched it now, right? It's not on. It's on. Oh no, it is still on Top Chat. Hang on. Live chat. Okay, now it's on live chat. Now it's on live chat. Sorry. Okay, no. Now I figured it out. I think. Anyway, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right. The Kremlin holds the keys. Cool. Sounds like something from Game of Thrones or something. In the early hours of May 9th, 2013, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak emailed his close friend Jeffrey Epstein with an urgent message. Are you awake? If yes, call. Please call. Barak wrote Epstein at 1 a.m. in New York. Shortly after they spoke, Barak emailed again to ask Epstein to keep their conversation private. Jeff, please don't share the info with any of our friends. Epstein replied, of course not. I think you should let Putin know. You'll be in Moscow. See if he wants private time. Barak and Epstein built a back channel to Putin in hopes of winning Russia's support to remove Syrian President Bashar al-Assad from power, according to leaked emails from Barak's inbox. Before approaching Putin, Barak and Epstein sought to use one of the major American newspapers to frame Israel's narrative about the Syrian war and telegraph a framework for peace talks led by the United States and Russia. Like, this is what's so crazy about this. Like Epstein is just a fucking guy. He's not a politician. He's never been elected to anything. He's just a fucking weird billionaire guy with a lot of friends. And yet, here he is talking to Ehud Barak, Prime Minister, Defense Minister of Israel, and the most decorated soldier in the history of that country. And the two of them are talking to each other. And Epstein is actually like, I actually have more connections than you. Like, let me hook you up with the people that I know so that you can get around. Same thing as he was doing in Mongolia in that other drop site article. So nuts. Okay. That spring, the Syrian civil war entered its third year. A popular uprising against the Assad regime had rapidly devolved into a brutal sectarian conflict fueled by foreign powers. The flow of Russian and Iranian weapons inside Syria and the threat of their diversion to Israel's enemies were among Israel's top security priorities. Since the early days of the war, Israeli security leaders believed Assad's downfall was imminent. Barak, then serving as Israel's defense minister, told the Washington Post in December 2011 that Assad's fall was inevitable and a matter of weeks, not a matter of months or years. Okay, so they're corroborating this with, sources other than just the emails. But that is wild. So, like, who knows how many of these, these leaders are going to the press, telling them shit that, like, all of these guys are, they're going to the press and saying shit that Epstein told them to say, basically. Like, I wonder how many people did that. Epstein was a fucking secret source for so long. It really is unbelievable. Yeah. Josh Mowdy. Epstein did something for investment companies in the beginning. Graduated high school early. Bear Stearns, I believe, for 3 years. He didn't graduate high school early. Or did he? Maybe he did. I could be. Maybe so. But yes, he did. He did teach at a high school without having a university degree, and it was a Dalton school in New York. And then he got hired at Bear Stearns by a connection through one of his students' fathers knew Ace Greenberg at Bear Stearns, and he got hired to work there. But you think I honestly don't. I mean, that would be funny if they were both federal informants for different agencies, but I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, I think he was a guy. I think he's a reasonably smart guy. You know, he's in the Gifted program. He played the piano. You know, people in school said he was good at math. Tutored some people in high school when he was in high school. He would tutor his friends in math. You know, he's like a reasonably smart guy, but he presents himself as this like once in a generation fucking genius. You know, yeah. What do you mean, MJF? We're all pretending Russian mail order bride wasn't a running joke in the 90s? What do you mean by that? Since the early days of the war, Israeli security leaders believed Assad's downfall was imminent. Barak, blah, 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 blah. We already read all that. Sorry, guys. Where were we? More than a year later, Barak's prediction had still not come true. With Russia and Iran's support, Assad stubbornly clung to power. Israeli officials, recognizing the need to engage Russia, visited Moscow in January 2013 to discuss concerns about Syria's chemical weapons stockpile falling into the hands of Hezbollah in Lebanon or Sunni militants linked to al-Qaeda. Meanwhile, Israel escalated its operations within Syria's borders. In late January, the Israeli Air Force conducted an airstrike on Damascus, that's in Syria, intended to halt the transfer of surface-to-air missiles to Hezbollah. Barak postured about the strikes at a security conference the following month. When we say something, we mean it. He reiterated his assertion that Assad's fall is coming imminently. It's like, I'm telling you, any day now. And when it happens, this will be a major blow to the Iranians and Hezbollah. But Assad still refused to bend, and Hezbollah's strategic gains on Israel's borders increased the pressure to remove Iran's man. Sorry, I keep saying Iran wrong. I say Iran, it's Iran, right? To remove Iran's man in Damascus. Rapprochement with the Kremlin offered a solution. How do you guys even say that in an English way? Rapprochement? Rapprochement? With the Kremlin offered a solution. Barak stepped down from his post in March 2013 after the failure of his new political party to contest Knesset elections. His retirement from formal office, he said, Knesset is the, I mean, I'm sure people know this, but it's like the Israeli, like, government, like the cabinet kind of thing, the Knesset, right? I think that's what it is. I sort of think of it as the equivalent to like a cabinet. The unicameral legislature of Israel. The Knesset passes all laws, elects the president and prime minister, approves the cabinet. Okay, so it's not exactly the cabinet, I guess. It's like something above that, and supervises the work of the government, among other things. Huh. Cool. His retirement from formal office, he said, meant that he would now have time to study, write, live, and enjoy. Instead, he immediately began working with Epstein to conduct covert diplomatic work in support of Israeli security interests abroad. That's so funny. It's like, like maybe that's what he meant when he said study, write, live, and enjoy. You know, he's a workaholic. Hey, you can take the man out of the Knesset, but you can't take the Knesset out of the man. You know, the guy's always gonna be the most decorated IDF soldier in history. Stepped down from his post. Very, very funny. Yeah, no, it's great. I'm retired now. I can really focus all my time on hanging out with a pedophile and try to figure out how to take over the world. Like, but actually, now I can really focus full time. It's like, on your wife and kids? No, not at all on them. Oh my God. I will not be hanging out with those kids. Other kids at my pedophile friend's house, yes, I will be hanging out with them a lot. But no. Going to really live and enjoy my life as a sheep-dipped fucking Mossad, like node on the Mossad connection board. Boy. Yeah. Are you still getting... Are all your things going through scum? I'm still... not to vent or anything? Okay. Anyway, moving on. Yes, that's how I sort of see it. Flash Motor works. Godels. He acted like he was a polymath. He specialized in nothing. Yeah, I think he was a con man. He had a thing where he would, like, for fun, he would go to people and be like I think when he met Virginia, he told her he was a brain scientist. Not even like a, brain surgeon or neuroscientist, a brain scientist. He once told a guy in the White House when he was visiting the White House during Clinton's time there, he once told one of Mark Middleton's friends, he was like, yeah, I'm actually a Navy SEAL. And the guy he was talking to was a Navy SEAL. And he was like, what unit were you in? And Epstein was just like, 3 or something. Like he was like a real Marine would have, or not Marine, Navy SEAL would have known how to answer that question right away. And Epstein was just like, I don't know, 5? The guy's like, oh, you're not a Navy SEAL. And he's like, yeah, you got me. Like he just lied. He loves to lie. Compulsive liar. Okay, moving on here. What? Huh? Where was I? The key to Barack's back-channel diplomacy with Russia was his relationship with Viktor Vekselberg, a Russian-Israeli oligarch and owner of the multinational conglomerate Renova Group. Barack offered his services as a strategic consultant to Renova, a position that would generate a lucrative salary for himself and further his ambitions in the global mining and energy sectors while enhancing his access to powerful figures in the Russian elite. This I would love to know more about. Was all of Epstein's connections to Russian intelligence. I do feel like this is a underreported part of the story. Barack kept Epstein abreast of every update on his courtship with Vekselberg. As Barack progressed toward a formal agreement with Renova, oh, excuse me, blow. You guys heard me. I'm an actual SEAL on my mother's side. Yeah. What the fuck? Epstein stole Valor? Yeah. Actually, I didn't think about that, but like, that's like a big deal, right? In like the U.S., if you pretend that you were in the military and you weren't, that's like kind of like, I don't know, like the worst thing you can do, So it's kind of funny that he did in the White House. He was like, yeah, I was a Navy SEAL. Ah, you got me. I'm lying. And everyone's just like, okay, like people let that slide. I forgot that I actually forgot that that's a big deal because it just doesn't seem like one to me. Stolen Valor guys are all perverts. I mean, I imagine. If you're the type of person who goes around saying that you served in the military, you want to get the whatever discount at the coffee shop or whatever, you want to get seated early on the airplane and I don't know, whatever tiny fucking benefits that veterans get in this like late stage capitalist world. It's ass kickable. If more people actually did call him out, I'm sure he would just be like, you got me. What's your favorite part of the brain? Oh, you're a brain scientist, huh? What's your favorite part of the brain? And that's a good point too, Finland. Making lots of connections to powerful Russian figures is exactly what you'd expect someone working for U.S. intelligence would be doing. Very good point. Very, very good point. I do. Another thing I find fucking annoying, and I know I've whined about this on here before, but a lot of people who study Epstein stuff will say shit like, obviously he wasn't working for U.S. intelligence. Because U.S. intelligence wouldn't do something weird and gross like that. But probably Russia or Israeli intelligence. That seems more likely. And it's just like, do you not know anything about your own fucking country? Read fucking any book about the CIA. And then come back to me and tell me that they would never give money to a fucking pedophile. No, they would do that shit. They would do that shit. Abdullah Goblin Ada. Nice. Crazy world. Okay, moving on here. Barack kept Epstein abreast of every update on his courtship with Vexelberg. As Barack progressed toward a formal agreement with Renova, Epstein counseled Barack on contract negotiations, writing on April 27th, "I think you should propose all up front. No need for a written agreement until later." Beneath the surface of mundane contract details, Epstein and Barack worked on a covert plan with the support of Israeli intelligence, regime change in Syria, Damascus. The Israeli military strategist, often described as emotionally handicapped, relied on Epstein to help him craft his messaging when dealing with other political officials and business elites. Epstein, for instance, asked Barack to wait until they could speak privately before Barack notified intelligence leaders of a deal with Vexelberg. "Do not go to number one too quickly. I understand more now, so we should speak." Now, number one, okay, so they explain this here. The euphemism number one is a moniker used to refer to the head of Mossad, dating back to Barack's days as director of Israeli military intelligence when the Mossad director's identity was kept secret. Yeah, that is a well-established thing that the leader of Mossad, unlike in like the I don't think it's like this anymore, but back in the day, I guess at this time, the leader of Mossad, nobody knew who it was. So people just call him number one. So here we go, guys. This is it. This is what the title of the stream was trying to tell you. What was the title of my stream again? Link between Epstein and Mossad confirmed, right? That's what it is. Here we go. We're there now. Do not go to number one too quickly. Also, this is crazy. Like, can I just point out? So this is Epstein, an American man, right? Grew up in Coney Island. And he is more in touch with Mossad than fucking Ehud Barak is. And he is like, hey, this is what we should, here's how you got to do it, okay? Don't fuck this up, man, all right? You got to do this, you got to, like, he is helping Ehud Barak, not just an Israeli citizen, but like the most decorated fucking soldier in Israel's history. The former prime minister of Israel, the just recently former defense minister of Israel. And Epstein is still more connected than Ehud Barak is with Mossad. That's weird. That is not what you would expect to be the case. That's a little bit bonkers, I have to say. I had to go to the big goblin picture to say that. Crazy. Really nuts. All right. Where were we? Yes, Mossad. Okay. As the Renova contract was being finalized, let's look that up. Actually, you know what? Since I took the time to set it up here, let's look that up. Do not go to number one too quickly. Let's see. And let's see if there's anything else in that email chain we can read. Okay. Whoop. Hang on. Okay. Dang it. Nothing. I think you should propose all up front. No need for a written agreement until later. Do not go to number one too quickly. I understand more now, so we should speak. And then he just goes, trying to reach you. What's the present number? EB, Ehud Barak. And this one, propose all up front. What's this responding to? I want to know. And this is just the same one again. Weird that there's two of these. Crazy. And let's see, is there are there other times where he said number one? Lots of other times. Oh, well, some of these are just okay. Well, we've got his fucking PIN number. Oh, not his PIN number, a different guy's PIN number, I guess. Cybertech. Okay, all of it. Okay, I guess number one is not. What if I say Mossad and Epstein? Wow, lots. I mean, Epstein is maybe not a super uncommon name, though. Yeah, this is not. Oh, what's this? Jeffrey Epstein. Hello, Ehud. Jeffrey would like to speak to you. Could you please give him a call? Leslie, that's Leslie Groff. Yeah, Leslie Groff email. Wow. But why did this come up? Because I specifically searched for Mossad. It doesn't accept Boolean operators? Mossad and Epstein. Oh, what's this? Fifth Dimension Executive Summary. And this is from Ehud to Jeffrey. Short summary of the Co. Fifth Dimension. What's this? Sorry, I just... Okay, this is from Yaron Eitan to a bunch of people, and then it gets forwarded. Oh, no. Oh, did it get sent to... Oh, Jason Epstein. Different Epstein. Okay, fuck that. But what's this one? Executive... What the heck? Oh, my God. I was not expecting to see the fucking Guy Fawkes mask. And look, it's got the fucking, like, anonymous code inside of it. We do not forgive. Expect us. We are anonymous. We do not forget. We do not forgive. We are Legion. Yeah, just over and over again. Okay. Executive summary. So this is a PowerPoint presentation for Fifth Dimension Limited. Was that a business that they were trying to do? Was that like what Reporty was called? Fifth Dimension, headquartered in Tel Aviv, is a pioneering and leading provider of cyber solutions for cyber intelligence, cyber interception, and cyber surveillance. Okay, so this must have been one of Epstein and Barack's, what do you call it? Dang old, business ventures they were trying to get off the ground. Fifth Dimension, breakthrough technology. Okay, well, this is kind of crazy. See, this is the thing about the emails, right? There's hundreds of thousands of them. So, there's been a lot of email drops, but the ones that are Ehud Barak, like all the stuff has been out, but it's just taking people a while to get through it all. I think DropSite is doing a good job with stuff, but it's even for them, it's like they're getting it out like when they come across it, I think. Anyway, sorry, got distracted there for a second. All right, back to the our regularly scheduled programming here. As the Renova contract was being finalized. What were we saying? Oh, number one. Right. A few hours after Barak informed Epstein of his Moscow plans, Epstein shared some intelligence about one of Putin's interlocutors. Yeah, that is a good word. Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier. That is a great word. What does that even mean? What's interlocutors mean? Okay. In linguistics, a person involved in a conversation or dialogue. That's what it means? Two or more people speaking to one another are each other's interlocutors. Oh. Okay. So intelligence about one of Putin's people in a conversation with him? It's got to be more than just that. The head of the Council on Europe. On May 20th, Thorbjorn Jagland is going to see Putin in Sochi. Jagland asked that I make myself available to meet with him sometime in June to explain how Russia can structure deals in order to encourage Western investment. I never met him. Wanted you to know. Barak, who was working closely with Epstein to cut deals in the Eurasian... Messages still aren't showing? What the heck? Oh, why did it go to the top? That's annoying. Oh, wait. That's a different... This is the other one. Huh? Oh, did I click on something? Okay, sorry, guys. I'm a little bit confused. Are they not showing, guys? Because I'm seeing... I did change the thing from top chat to live chat. I don't know why. Like, how does it even decide what? So it doesn't include potential spam? Community moderation? It's funny that it's banning you. Ah, God. Okay. Permissions. Community moderation. Content controls. Let's try this. All right. Let's see if that helps. I don't know if that will work, but see if that helps. Something maybe will be different now. Also, thank you for the $2, scum. Appreciate you. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. All right, where were we? Yeah. Epstein and Barak, blah, 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 emotionally handicapped. I guess so. It's funny. Like, I guess Epstein was sort of giving him kind of like, I don't know what you call it, like social dynamics advice. Epstein was sort of giving him like Andrew Tate style, like, or, like pickup artist advice for how to fucking make these moves. He's like, the Israeli military strategist, often described as emotionally handicapped, relied on Epstein to help him craft his messaging when dealing with other political officials and business elites. Yeah, so that's why he was like, don't talk to the fucking head of Mossad too quickly. You're not ready for that. Hang on, let me fucking talk to you and tell you how to be cool. Barak, who was working closely with Epstein to cut deals in the Eurasian energy sector, wrote back, I know Yaglin for a long time. Probably we have to talk about it. Epstein responded with a short list of past and present American national security leaders who, his response implied, could also be useful in Russia talks. He wrote, okay, Panetta, Alexander Clark, likely referring to the Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta, NSA Director Keith Alexander, and cybersecurity czar Richard Clark. Okay. We have to talk about it. So wait, I'm a little bit confused. So Epstein messaged Ehud Barak about this guy, Thornbjorn Jagland, going to see Putin in Russia. Jagland asked that I make myself available to meet with him sometime in June to explain how Russia can structure deals in order to encourage Western development. I never met him, wanted you to know. Probably have to talk about it. But then what? Like, what is this? Okay, blah, blah, blah. Like, why is he listing people there? What am I missing here? What am I missing? Is that... Oh, like maybe it's people that they would want to also meet with them? Yeah. I guess this is what Dropsite is assuming. His response implied could also be useful in Russia talks. That makes sense. I'd be like, yo, I'm going to have a party at my place. Ehud Barak, you want to come? Yeah, sure, man. I'm free. Okay, cool. What about this guy? Like other people that they could invite to the party. That's would be maybe what they're saying. A little bit weird though, but yeah, that would make sense. I guess these people seem pretty important. Yeah. Huh. All right. Upon his return from Moscow, Barak contacted George Tenet, former director of the CIA, to pitch it. Here we go, guys. Whoops. Didn't mean to click on that. Now the CIA's getting in on this. We got the former fucking Israeli defense minister and the former CIA director. Crazy. To pitch a talk Barak could give at Allen & Company's Sun Valley event in July, a summer camp for billionaires and elite politicians to convene and negotiate deals. That sounds like fucking Bohemian Grove. What's it called? The Allen & Company Sun Valley Conference. Yeah, so it's basically Bohemian Grove, but like more fucking boring and corporate. It's for like the Silicon Valley set. Look at these fucking dweebs. We control everything. All right. The topic, think of Syria, CW, plus background. So this is a direct quote from the email. From Ehud Barak to Sun V. Wait, Sun V George Tenet? Yeah. Dear George. Oh no, G Tenet. But wait, what's Sun V is the email subject, I guess. Think of Syria. What's CW? CW. Not sure. Background of Iran's elections and nuke program, global terror, North Korea, etc. Probably briefing for select group. Thanks. Best, Ehud. Barak was not recorded on the guest list. Oh, interesting. Okay. Weird. All right. Anyway, okay. Moving on. In the meantime, Epstein, chemical weapons? Yeah. That would make sense, actually. Yeah, that would make sense. Good call. Think of Syria, chemical weapons. Plus background. Yeah. I think you're right. In the meantime, Epstein and Barak crafted an op-ed for Barak to publish that could shape the narrative for a Russian-led transition in Syria that secured Israel's interests. On May 19th, Barak sent Epstein a draft titled "The Kremlin Holds the Keys." All right, this one we can find. The Kremlin holds the keys. The Kremlin holds the keys. Oh, there's actually a bunch of them. From Josh Hantman, written in Hebrew. The Kremlin holds the keys. Wait, what's this? Did more than one people use this phrase? Oh shit, a lot of people did. See all these things I'm scrolling past? Okay. Epstein. Still so many. My thoughts were confirmed. All right, what else did we learn here? Which is argue that Assad's regime... Oh, so Barack wrote this. And it was called The Kremlin Holds the Keys, which argued that Assad's regime had permanently lost its legitimacy and Russia should take leadership to negotiate a swift end to the war or see years of bloody massacres in a no-man's land Syria. A post-Assad Syria, wrote Barack, was a foregone conclusion. He keeps saying this. It was now up to Russia to decide whether or not to convince Assad to leave or prolong the war. Barack's editorial proposed that the U.S. and its allies should accept a price for a Russia-led solution to the war. He acknowledged that removing Assad from power should not compromise Russia's interests and perspectives in Syria, namely Russia's deep ties within the Syrian security apparatus and its access to naval bases at Tartus and Latakia. He framed the chemical weapons threat as a decisive issue requiring initiative by the Russians, who knew the generals of the chemical weapons units on a first-name basis. The backdrop of Barack's editorial was Russia's looming delivery of advanced weapons systems to Syria, including anti-ship missiles and advanced air defenses, which threatens to further entrench Israel's enemies. Okay. In the weeks prior, Israel began escalating its operations inside Syria, conducting more airstrikes on Damascus to block Iranian missiles bound for Hezbollah. Russia responded by sending its warships into the Mediterranean. Jeez, yeah, this was a fucked up time. Syrian war, remember that? God. Barack felt enormous urgency to secure a face-to-face meeting with Putin as soon as possible before the conflict escalated further. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry, I forgot I wasn't on the thing. Here we go. That should be good, right? My bad. Yeah, no, because I've been switching back and forth between display capture and window capture. Anyway, my bad. All right, where were we? Barack felt enormous urgency to secure a face-to-face meeting with Putin as soon as possible before the conflict escalated further. Besides Epstein, he also requested comments from Ron Dermer. Okay, so that's why when I searched "The Kremlin Holds the Key," I got so many results. It's him sending out his essay to a bunch of different people. Zoom out so you can read the article. Let us see them calves. All right. Okay, you want to see these calves? I don't know if you're ready for these baby cows. Barack wrote to Dermer, I don't care how you've corrected it. Yours will always be better in clarity and Oh, Barack, don't be so hard on yourself. I don't care how you corrected it. Yours will always be better in clarity and conciseness than mine. Oh, I'm so bad at this. Why isn't anybody even take me seriously? Oh my God, I'm a fraud. I wish I was as good as you are, Dermer. Ron Dermer, I think is what he probably said after that. Dermer swiftly returned a refined copy with more fluent English. Oh, it's just an ESL thing? Got it. Okay. Sorry. I don't mean to make fun of Ehud Barak. It's okay if you speak English as a second language. As was typical of Epstein's style, he sent back a rough cut riddled with spelling and grammatical errors. Yes. Okay, hang on. Okay, now we've got the title. Oh, this is the full thing. But let's find it in the actual thing. Why not? What was it again? First edit for your comments. First edit for your comments. Yep, here it is. Okay, so this is what he sends him back. Wait until it's too late seems to be the new fashionable foreign policy. Just so much wrong with it. All these just two or three spaces in between some words, one space between other words. The unfolding tragedy in Syria has already cost 75 thousand precious lives and millions displaced. The complex dilemma, 3 M's in a row, recently illustrated in bright colors by the recent juxtaposition of the evidence of nerve agents being used by the Assad regime against its own alongside the... Wow, did he rewrite the entire thing? This is crazy. I strongly believe that the Kremlin has at its disposal the leverages that can convince Assad to eventually leave and to stop fighting immediately. Period. Anyway, wow. Crazy. Very, very, very cool. And now I know I will go back to this. Here we go. So they pretty much posted the whole thing in here, almost. Epstein did indeed wait until it was too late to send his edits. Barack wrote back, "Unfortunately, we came to a deadline and had to send somewhat less brilliant text. I hope one of the big three will buy it." The New York Times rejected Barack's editorial. It's funny that he's like sucking up to Epstein. "We had to send a somewhat less brilliant text. Oh, if only we had your brilliance, Epstein." New York Times rejected his editorial. That's how you know it's fucking bad. You got some fucking Hasbara for the New York Times, Ehud Barak? Well, you still gotta fucking go through the same submission and approval guidelines as everyone else, as everybody else has to do. Okay, Ehud Barak, yeah, no, I understand. You're former Prime Minister of Israel, and we are the New York Times. But we're going to say no. The Times International Opinion Editor wrote, "We are potentially interested, but we feel that the key part of the piece is left vague. Proposing a Russian-mediated solution is only an appealing op-ed for us if the mechanics are spelled out. Barack is a military man and an experienced negotiator, so I have no doubt he has something specific in mind. What does he think the price will be? What is the Russian incentive to budge now?" Epstein had conveyed a similar criticism of Barack's draft. "I thought the article should have more of a headline so that you are clearly associated with a position." After the rejection from New York Times, Barack wrote Epstein back, "You are right." I like that they're using like texting slang, these like fucking old ass like boomers. Epstein then expanded on his own aggressive view, arguing that the U.S. was waiting too long to intervene when it came to Palestinians in Iran. "I really like the wait until it's too late to be your critique of the community's foreign policy. Years ago, things moved slowly. Stalin took weeks to defend. Months of... What? Stalin took weeks to defend? Like Joseph Stalin? Who knows? Months of preparation, strategies, etc. Today, these things force decision, for good and for bad. ... The U.S. wait policy, ... The Palestinian wait policy, Iran wait policy. What? I do not even know how to parse this. I really like to wait until it's too late to be your critique. Years ago, things moved slowly. Stalin took weeks to defend, blah, 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 blah. Today, these things force decision for good and for bad. Like he's saying that the U.S. and the Palestinians in Iran all have a policy where they wait? The U.S. wait policy? Also, I fucking no idea, guys. No, Bob Stalin from accounting. Yeah. Barack decided not to address the specific questions posed by the New York Times editor. He wrote to his spokesman on May 21st, tell them they can get a full description of answers to all their questions in a different piece. Not now, because it will empty the main message. The Times rejection was followed by rejections from Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal. The op-ed was eventually published without Epstein's changes in the Telegraph on May 30th, 2013. Crazy. Okay, this part I heard about here. Cool. All right, we're about halfway through this article. This part's nuts. The messages were conveyed to the top players. Upon returning to the Russian presidency in May 2012, Putin sought to neutralize widespread street protests which, he claimed, were fomented by external agents funded by U.S.-backed NGOs. Putin had a long-standing mutually hostile relationship to the Clinton family. The protests against his election, which he pinned squarely on the shoulders of the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, that isn't like really out of pocket. Like that's kind of true. Ratcheted those tensions ever higher, foreshadowing a contest that would consume American politics in the years to come. Yes. Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, this is in 2012, and you can sort of tell if you remember Hillary Clinton's reaction to losing the election in 2016. You know, Russia, I think we can all admit, or well, I don't know, maybe most of us can probably admit, definitely played a role in her losing the election. Definitely, you know, they were buying Facebook ads and, you know, doing a bunch of fucking, I don't know, election interference from afar, using their sort of cyber, whatever, warfare, intelligence, psyops kind of thing. But they weren't like the only reason that she lost, or even the main reason why she lost. But that is who she was fixated on blaming afterwards. And like liberals in general were very fixated on Russia, right? Like every Rachel Maddow show for like 3 years was just the fucking kill Vladimir Putin hour of the day. And that kind of hatred, that sort of what do you call it, Slav phobia, whatever, like anti-Russian bigotry. I mean, whatever, like Russia, fucking Putin sucks, obviously, but Hillary hated Putin. And this goes back long before all this. Moving on, watching the collapsing governments of the so-called Arab Spring from afar and seeking to prevent a similar color revolution in Russia, Putin began a balancing act of centralizing political and economic authority while preserving channels for foreign capital investment. It's wild, but can I side note, but not relevant? Yeah, of course you can, Joshua Rowdy. I mean, Mowdy. Get it. Russia wanted to lose and tried to interfere. I just doubt how effective they were. Like, if you look at them, lots of them got not that many views and were clumsy. Yeah. Yeah. I think they had, they wanted her to lose. Yeah. They wanted Trump to win. They definitely, I think their strategy was to inflame tensions in the U.S., to make people feel more divided. They posted a bunch of fake Black Lives Matter accounts. They focused a lot on the Black community and the American Christian communities, I think, were two of their biggest focuses. I mean, I don't know. Personally, I think like that election was so close. 2016, it was like Hillary actually won the popular vote and then lost the election overall. It was really, really close though. Like, and so when people are like, it's all the fault of Bernie Sanders, it's all the fault of Russia, it's all because Comey reopened the email investigation, it's all because of this, it's all because of that. Almost every one of those statements is right in the sense that, like, yeah, if that didn't happen, Hillary probably would have won. But that's just because it was so fucking close. You know, like if you take away any fucking like 0.5% of the vote, the end result switches. So, yeah, I mean, it's easy to point fingers because, you know, you can just be like, yeah, here are a lot of things that didn't really work that well for them. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh God, somewhere a silent alarm has tripped at the use of your words. No, listen, I did not mean that. Redact Vladimir Putin, and a gentleman with an umbrella will be with you shortly. Yeah. Yeah, next time I'm doing a my like motorcade parade down the street, waving out the back of my convertible, I'll see a guy open an umbrella and then it'll all be over. R.I.P. Chill Goblin. Okay, sorry. Okay, here we go. Watching the collapsing governments of the so-called Arab Spring from afar and seeking to prevent a similar color revolution in Russia, Putin began a balancing act of centralizing political and... So wait a second. What's a color revolution? I thought that was like a fake, like a CIA revolution or something. A series of non-violent protests and political movements aimed at overthrowing authoritarian governments, primarily in post-Soviet states. These revolutions often use a specific color or... Oh, that's what it is? Color or symbol to unify supporters and are typically triggered by perceived electoral fraud or corruption. Oh, totally had the wrong definition of that. My bad. Epstein once bragged. Oh, wait, no. Sorry. I keep missing the most important sentence here. Epstein, close with former President Bill Clinton, had a role to play. So again, why is Epstein involved in this? Because he knows everyone. He is like probably one of the only people on earth who has all of the connections that he needs to connect people in Mossad, people in Russia, people in US government, people in the UK government, people in the fucking, Swedish government. Like, he knows all these guys. He knows them. That is his great value to these regimes. Epstein once bragged to a journalist that he often flew to Moscow to see Vladimir Putin and enjoyed close. So again, Epstein bragged to a lot of people. This is in the Daily Mail, right? Yeah. No, I don't want to allow ads. I won't. Putin. Where did we find it? So the fucking Daily Mail journalist goes, what about Russia? Any clients there? He shrugged and said he often flew to Moscow to see Vladimir Putin. I found this hard to swallow. It was implausible that such powerful world leaders would trust the management of their personal funds to a convicted sex offender. Yeah, you would think. That's wild. But no, seems like it was true. The American financier specialized in moving money across borders, and his expertise would be useful in stemming capital flight from Russia and Putin's crackdown on foreign agents. Yeah, so this article definitely takes Epstein's claims as this sort of like foreign money, whatever you call it, financier guy, seriously, which I don't. Although, I don't know. I mean, seems like something was happening here. Anyway. On May 22nd, 2013, Epstein informed Barack he'd received and rejected an invitation to meet with Putin at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum the next month. Putin asked that I meet him in St. Petersburg at the same time as his economic conference. I told him no. If he wants to meet, he'll need to set aside real time and privacy. Whoa, okay, big swinging dick over here. That's nuts. He's like, Putin wanted to meet with me at a fucking conference? Dude, I'm not a side piece to your fucking conference. You want to meet with Epstein? You got to make a fucking day of it. That's crazy. This is like when he was like talking to Leon Black, who is the guy who gave him $170 million and was like playing such hardball with him, But with Putin, it's like, well, what does he have on Putin? Did he have blackmail material on Putin? I mean, maybe actually. I don't know. Who knows? Barack found his own official reason to attend the conference, supporting a technology incubator in Moscow led by Vekselberg. The Kremlin was threatening to cut funding from the Skolkovo Innovation Center, Russia's Silicon Valley, which Renova was heavily involved in developing. Why did Eric Weinstein meet with Jeff prior to Peter? You mean Peter Thiel? Why did Eric facilitate? I mean, I don't know. I've heard Eric tell that weird story of meeting Epstein and how he's like, and I knew he was evil. I just saw in his eyes. And just the way he tells that story, I really don't believe any of it. But who knows? All right. We're almost done here. No, we're not. Let's keep going, though. Yes. Renova sent Barack an email with talking points to discuss in St. Petersburg and included the contact information for Putin's foreign policy aide, Yuri Ushakov, which Barack could use to request FaceTime with the president. Barack reached out to Putin's aide 2 days later on May 26th to request a meeting with Putin in St. Petersburg just prior to the conference. I'd like to meet with President Putin for 30 to 40 minutes at an early opportunity, preferably before the main June events, Barack wrote, adding, I'm fully aware of the intense burden on the president's schedule these days, but I urge you to draw the president's attention to my request. Epstein was eager to get an update about the Russians' reply, And he emailed to confirm if Barack was coming to Henry Kissinger's 90th birthday party in New York on June 3rd, 2013. That event would also be attended by U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, the lead broker for U.S. policy on Syria and Iran. Also, one of Epstein's friends. John Kerry, photographed in the Fontanillas, Epstein's maid and house manager. They posted a bunch of photos on their Facebook page. Oh, get out of here. No, I'm not going to do that. So here's obviously Bill Clinton. Those are the Fontanillas. They're this Filipino couple. Boop, bow. Oh, it doesn't have. Oh, it does. Oh, is it not going to load? Because I'm trying to avoid. Oh, fine. Okay, I'll turn off my ad blocker. I don't like to, but I'll do it. No, Forbes, you're not going to fucking show me notifications. Pause. So there's them with Epstein. There's them with Clinton. Oh, God, the ad is so obnoxious. There's them with Prince Andrew. There's them with Sarah Ferguson. Wow, it's taking forever to scroll. Why? There's them. This is them with Hillary Swank. Oh, no, now it's going too far. Oh, my God. Wow, what's happening here? Are the ads just making this super slow to scroll? But look at this. This is John Kerry at Epstein's New York mansion. A blurry-ass photo. So it's funny, they mentioned John Kerry was there too. Fucking Henry Kissinger's birthday. Here it is. John Kerry arrives at Henry Kissinger's birthday party at St. Regis Hotel, June 3rd, 2013. You know, there are differences between the parties, but when it comes to foreign policy, the Democrats and Republicans are both essentially Nazis. They're both essentially fucking, America is the Fourth Reich, and we deserve to rule everyone. It's fucked up. It's fucked up is what it is. Ushakov's chief of staff acknowledged Barack's message on June 5th and passed along Ushakov's direct phone number to coordinate the meeting details. Then on June 7th, the first of Edward Snowden's bombshell revelations on the NSA dragnet PRISM surveillance was published, casting a shadow over Barack and Epstein's planning. Barack sent Epstein an email with the subject line NYT missing editorial referring to the New York Times editorial board's President Obama's dragnet, a scathing piece on the PRISM revelations that day. The two men recognized the Snowden leaks could undermine the Obama administration's leverage in negotiations with Putin. Barack asked Epstein to read the article in which the New York Times editors claimed the president had lost all credibility by abusing his executive powers. Barack wrote, "Find and read it regarding our conversation about what could EH, by which he meant Attorney General Eric Holder, have done to help his boss." Epstein replied, "Any confirmation on St. Petersburg?" It's funny that he's like, he wants him to read an article, but he doesn't know how to send a link. So he's just like, just find it. Just fucking find it, man. You'll find it. Like, bro, send me a link, dude. Hit me up with the http://. Very cool. Despite making contact with Ushakov, Barack's consulting company Hyperion had still not been registered for the conference. On June 10th, Barack emailed Boris Kollardi, CEO of Julius Baer, a Swiss private bank where he was also an advisor. I need these connections, the cork board's filling up. You know what I mean? Isn't this crazy? This is one of the most this is a fucking I'm trying to think of the right word. This is a mind-blowing article. There's so much in here that seems insane. It seems like something you'd see on a corkboard, but this is all backed up, verified. We have the emails, we have the contemporaneous, whatever the word is, evidence. We have these news reports. It's really wild to see how these connections kind of play out. in the world of geopolitics. And honestly, like shocking to me. Like I'm having to eat some of my words here where I'm sort of, I guess I have like a lot more of a cautious, take on a lot of conspiracy stuff in general. As much as I'm definitely like, probably more pilled than most people are. I like to be cautious, and I don't like to go too tinfoil hat with my conspiracy theories. And so I've at times been like, well, let's not go too far here. Like, we don't know that Epstein was like working with Mossad. We don't know this. We don't know that. And then so I get an article like this. I'm like, actually, it turns out the fucking tinfoil hat guys were right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually kind of having to take back some of the things I've said on this stream before. This is wild. Follow the money. Oh, there's another fucking article that came out today about Epstein money laundering in Bloomberg. Oh, was it today or a couple days ago? Anyway, recently. I don't know if we'll have time to get through that today, though. This is taking a little while. We'll see. But I would. Yeah, there's been some more shit about the money. Even the fucking. We learned a lot about Epstein's money shit with the Leon Black emails that got revealed recently too. Yeah, probably lots. Sorry, Finland, you mean lots of connections, but maybe not much more than other powerful former leaders? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're saying we'll have to know all the companies Barack was an advisor to. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, this is what we were talking about last week when I was going over Bohemian Grove and the Who Rules America stuff with Domhoff, where he's like, if you want to really actually look at the network of people that control everything, the power elites, look at who sits on the boards of directors at all the Fortune 500 companies. Look who sits on the advisory councils and the boards of trustees on all of these think tanks and, NGO nonprofit orgs that are run by the, billionaire class. Look at who sits on all those boards and look on all the different boards they sit on. I'm sure Barack was probably an advisor on many boards. Yeah. Really, really interesting stuff. With Julius Baer's help, sorry, wait, did we read this already? Barack's consulting company, blah, blah, blah. I use your office help. Russia is not yet orderly to run place. I've got an official confirmation of a meeting with Putin, but Hyperion's registration file had not yet confirmed. Probably they never heard the name. I think if JB will approach the governing body, the organizing body, on my behalf, they'll conclude it within hours. With Julius Baer's help, Barack swiftly locked in his appointment. In less than 24 hours, Uzhakov's office confirmed the appointment time. Barack wrote back, trying to convey the urgency and importance of the meeting. I've never spent the time of the president and won't do it now. The meeting is important, so make sure it's done during the spief. Okay. That's funny. I've never spent the time of the president, and I won't do it now. I think he meant to say I've never wasted the time of the president. The same week, Israeli intelligence officials used official channels to engage with other stakeholders in Syria as Mossad director Tamir Pardo arrived in Ankara for talks with Turkish spy chief Hakan Fidan. Hakan Fidan. That's funny that it's a spy guy because his name sort of sounds like confidant. Hakan Fidan. I am Hakan Fidan. You're a confidant for who? Anyway. On June 12th, Epstein sent Barack another piece of intelligence to prepare him for the meeting in St. Petersburg. Putin will redo his staff in the summer, bringing only very trusted people closer, more info on phone or face-to-face. Elon is a goofball. Can't disagree. The Venn diagram is starting to look like one big circle. Yeah, absolutely. Elon works for Peter, you think? I'm a little bit unsure of that. I think that they're on the same team, but they don't like each other. They really don't they do not get along. If you look at the history of PayPal, Peter Thiel fucked Elon over at one point in that whole negotiation where Elon was. I think it was while Elon was away on his fucking honeymoon or something with his wife. Peter Thiel took that opportunity to basically do a coup at PayPal and kick Elon out. Elon definitely hates Thiel, but I do think that they're aligned with each other and they sort of are aware of each other and they work in similar things. They're both obviously huge fans of Curtis Yarvin. the neo-reactionary kind of movement. But I do not think those guys can really stand to be in a room with each other, and I certainly wouldn't say Elon works for Peter. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. In the past, they've worked together. Obviously, they joined. They had a merger between X and PayPal back in the day. But yeah. Definitely though they're connected. They're connected in the fucking Peter Thiel massive web thing. The reptilians. All right. Moving on now. Where were we? Diggly dee. Putin will redo his staff in the summer, bringing only very trusted people closer. More info on phone or face-to-face. Putin's meeting with Barack was not logged in any SPIEF calendars for the SPIEF conference. But Barack's emails confirm a meeting scheduled for the evening of June 20th, and a Russian journalist saw Barack, waiting to speak with Putin again late in the evening of June 21st, after Angela Merkel's visit to the Hermitage. Okay, drop site, doing the work here, doing the journalism work. Okay, this is all in Russian. I thought there might be a photo. I guess not. Hey, Barack. Hey, Barack, are you here? Nope. Ehud? Nope. Israel? Nope. Okay, well, whatever. It's in this article somewhere. You got to know how to speak Russian to know it, I guess. On June 24th, Barack sent an email back to Ushakov reporting that the back-channel communication was successful. Barack confirmed that messages from Putin had been transmitted to relevant parties. Sorry, this is to Ushakov. Okay. Please note and convey to your boss that the two messages were conveyed yesterday night fully and accurately to the top players. Wow, so this was really a secret meeting. Barack's email did not specify the identities of the players or the content of the messages. The previous day, Edward Snowden arrived at Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport to seek asylum. Oh, wait, sorry, huh? Oh, you have to click read in full? Oh. Okay, hang on. So I'm translating it to English, and then there's a thing at the bottom, I guess? But it looks like I have the whole article here. Oh, no, you're right. Abe Bruck. The visit was swift. Angela Merkel apparently didn't want to draw attention to herself at the Hermitage, and Mr. Putin's working day was far from over. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak was already waiting for him. Didn't get away with it. They tried to keep it off the records. Angela. Okay, I knew it was Angela. I've been saying, yeah, okay, cool. Thanks. Thank you. Angela Merkel. Wait, where were we? Oh, geez. Okay, we read all this before. This is why I got to keep highlighting stuff so I can remember where I was. Not logged on any... Oh, yes, no, I was highlighting. Okay. The previous day, Edward Snowden arrived at Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport to seek asylum. Barack acknowledges Ushakov's difficult position and invited him to follow up later. I understand that in the meantime, new issues are crowding on your plate, Barack wrote. If you need more details, I'm on the same numero. Okay. And this is to Ushakov. All right. Getting authorization now for Iran. 2 months after the St. Petersburg conference, on August 21st, 2013, opposition-controlled areas in Ghouta, Syria were struck by rockets containing sarin gas, killing and injuring thousands in the suburbs of Damascus. 10 days later, President Obama delivered a speech at the Rose Garden of the White House announcing he'd seek congressional authorization for U.S. strikes on Syria, enforcing the red line he'd drawn exactly 1 year prior. Epstein emailed Barack as soon as news of Obama's speech broke on August 31st to propose publishing his shelved Syria narrative. Time to write the wait until too late op-ed, Barack responded solemnly. U.S. strikes. Oh, okay. Yeah. U.S. strikes. So this is the time to wait until too late. Or sorry, time to write. The wait until too late op-ed was the thing that Epstein was suggesting that he go with as the thrust of his article he was trying to get published. U.S. strikes might be launched before the op-ed will be accepted by any major paper. Epstein disagreed, suggesting any action would likely occur after the G20 summit on September 5th and Congress's return the week later. It will be at minimum a week or two, not before G20. An hour later, Barack agreed. After listening to POTUS' speech, you're probably right. Man, Barack really thinks the world of Epstein, eh? He's like, this guy is the smartest guy. He knows everything. It's crazy the amount. Time to write the wait until too late op-ed. It might be launched before the op-ed will be accepted by any major paper. It'll be at minimum a week or two, not before G20. After listening to POTUS' speech, you're probably right. I would use the opportunity to compare it with Iran. The solutions become more complex with time, not less. The solutions become more complex with time, not less. I think many people would like your views on Egypt, Syria, etc. Russia's role? I think you might point out the gassing of women and children is an expressions from the 20th century. Women are no longer equivalent to children. Civilians versus combatants only. Yeah, that's a funny thing for Epstein to say. Women are no longer equivalent to children. If there's anyone who thinks that children are equivalent to women, it's Jeffrey Epstein. Moving on. In the same email thread, and yeah, to Finland. Good point. Epstein might have inside info via U.S. intelligence connections. Because it does seem, like I feel like the context that we're getting here, right, is all from Ehud Barak's emails. So it seems like, and like sort of what they're sort of, I think, convincingly portraying in this article is that while, yes, Epstein was a mover in Russia, England, America, and Israel, from these emails, it appears that he was doing everything for the overall benefit of Israel. However, that makes sense because we only have Ehud Barak's emails. So we don't know what Epstein was sending to Clinton. We don't know what he was sending to Peter Mandelson. We don't know what he was sending to anybody. All we know is what Ehud Barak saw. And of course, you know, Epstein would want, no matter what he was doing, no matter who he was, his, you know, allegiances actually were to, he would want Ehud Barak to think that he was working in favor of Israel. So yeah, that is a really good point. Like he may have been playing off of other people as well, right? Yeah, this could, yeah, we should be cautious with these conclusions. CIA only lets senior case officers talk with Mossad officially. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they go over some shit about special ops and Israeli stuff in Fort Bragg cartel as well. We were talking about earlier. But yes. Okay, moving on. Epstein wished Congress would approve bombing Iran after bombing Syria, writing, "Hopefully someone suggests getting authorization now for Iran. The Congress would do it." Barak did not draft or publish an op-ed on Epstein's proposed theme at that time. On September 9, 2013, Secretary of State John Kerry floated the idea that Assad could avert strikes by surrendering every single bit of chemical weapons. Oh, wait, is that what? Okay, reporters regarded Kerry's comments as an offhand remark or a gaffe, and the U.S. State Department spokeswoman tried to brush it off as a rhetorical comment. But Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov took these statements seriously and offered a plan to peacefully impose international control over Assad's stockpile. The next day, Obama expressed his approval of Lavrov's proposal to avoid the use of force. Okay. Putin published an op-ed in the New York Times, plea for caution. Yeah, that's why if you go to Putin's Twitter account, it says, you know, New York Times opinion writer. Sometimes I run a country too. Tee he, him, whatever. Follow me on Blue Sky. Can we crowdfund information out of the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew? I mean, he's got to pay his own rent now, so he needs money. And I'm just gonna zoom in on myself even more. Wow. Is this better? Wow, that actually doesn't look any better at all. Huh. Am I not doing this right? Sorry, this should not matter. Do I actually got to put it up here to make a difference? Oh, it didn't change anything? Okay, I guess I just don't know what I'm doing. I guess I just got to readjust the camera. One sec. There we go. Now I'm like more framed correctly. All right. What? Huh? Where are we going? Oh, yes. Putin published an op-ed in the New York Times, a plea for caution, attempting to sell the same solution to the American public. It is alarming that military intervention in internal conflicts in foreign countries has become commonplace for the United States, he wrote. Is it in America's long-term interest? I doubt it. Millions around the world increasingly see America not as a model of democracy, but as relying solely on brute force, cobbling coalitions together under the slogan, you're either with us or against us. All right. U.S. and Israeli positions rapidly converged toward an international framework for regime change that resembled Barack's proposal, using chemical weapons disarmament as a on-ramp to a transitional government backed by the United Nations. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. explicitly called on the international community to remove Assad. Michael Oren told the Jerusalem Post, "We always preferred the bad guys who weren't backed by Iran to the bad guys who were backed by Iran." At the end of September, Oren stepped down from his ambassador post, replaced by Dermer, the silent editor of Barack's summer op-ed. The UN mission to destroy Syria's stockpile began in October, and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon announced Russia-sponsored peace talks in Geneva soon after. Wow. So is that sort of like, is that implying that like Epstein and Ehud Barak's plan ended up being adopted by Russia, America, and Israel after all? Wow, that's crazy. Russia became the indispensable broker after the Ghouta attack, especially as Barak urged. But in spite of the disarmament effort, the parallel peace talks in Geneva stalled out almost immediately over the question of Assad's future. As a precondition for joining the Geneva talks, Kerry demanded Iran agree to Assad's removal and a transitional government. Iran refused, and the peace process fell apart before it began. The U.S. and Israel ultimately accepted a Russia-led solution on chemical weapons, but failed to remove Assad from power. That is funny, though, that all of that, they still didn't get Assad out. I am not political. Jeffrey Epstein portrayed himself as an apolitical financier, but the back-channel diplomacy in Russia reveals him as a political fixer who arranged access to senior Russian political figures with the goal of advancing Israeli national security interests, often in direct contradiction to the United States national security strategy. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, like, what do you guys think? I feel like that, for me anyway, for right now, and I like to think that I'm pretty cautious about this sort of thing, I feel like this article has kind of done the work for me. Like, I feel like I'm convinced by this. I mean, yes, we only have Ehud Barak's emails. We don't know, like, we only have access to perhaps this time where he was working in, you know, the best interest of Israel over these other countries. But I would have to guess, judging from, you know, what I know and the picture of Epstein that's in my head, is that this guy who was mostly just kind of like self-interested, right? And he's just kind of like, well, what can I do to get people to do what I want? Okay, this is going to work out for me here. I'll do this. This is going to work out for me here. I'll do this. Not like I mean, obviously Epstein did have a connection to Israel. He did support Israel in many ways. But I don't know. I still feel like that would require some kind of, I guess, like allegiance and loyalty that I don't really think Epstein really had to anyone other than himself. It makes sense that we would get this thing from reading Ehud Barak's emails. However, like this article is not just looking at the emails to Ehud Barak. They're also looking at, well, what actually happened? Who actually met with who? What actually were people saying? What ended up being the official policy? What did they try to do? And it does, it does check out. I mean, I gotta say, I think this is the most convincing thing I've seen for the Israel side of Epstein here. In April 2015, the US and Iran agreed on a nuclear deal framework in Lausanne, Switzerland, a development that cut against the preferences of the Israeli government, as well as Epstein's own expressed hopes for a US attack on Iran. Time magazine asked Barak to write an editorial on the subject. In his essay, Iran has escaped a noose, Barak argued that only tough sanctions and military force could restrain Tehran, and sanctions would become difficult to reassemble after a deal was signed. Barak suggested instead a surgical strike on Iranian nuclear facilities to set Iran 5 years backward and deter future cheating. Yes, the Israeli time machine. They can send you 5 years backward by dropping a bomb on your nuclear facilities. Wait, if you drop a bomb on nuclear facilities, wouldn't that just create a nuclear explosion? Wouldn't that just be like dropping a nuke on someone? I don't know. This seems like an ill-advised plan. That Ghislaine Maxwell's father literally wrote the book on Mossad spycraft? No, he didn't do that. But there are suspicious ties between Robert Maxwell and Israeli intelligence, Mossad. Of course, Robert Maxwell was a spy during World War II for England against the Nazis. He was he was a spook. Changed his name a million times. Went around all over the place. Then later as a, fucking newspaper magnate, he was caught in, I think, 2 scandals where he was connected with Mossad or Russian intelligence. There's the whole, not Prism, but Promise software thing where he was helping, shop around this backdoor software for Israel to get access to, what people had on their computers. The whole like octopus conspiracy. And when he died, he was buried in Israel, and I think 2 Israeli prime ministers were at his funeral, and one of them said, the world will never know everything that Robert Maxwell did for Israel. But we don't know what that was exactly, and we don't know if he was like a spy or an asset or whatever. We don't know about Robert Maxwell. Seems likely. Wasn't Maxwell instrumental in getting Mordecai Vanunu arrested by Israel? I'm not sure. Was he... Wait, let me look this guy up. Who's he again? Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry. I think that this is right. This is one of the things while he was at the Daily Mirror, right? Well, let me just look up Maxwell. Yes, okay. Vanunu states in his letters that he intended to share the money he received from the newspaper with the Anglican Church of Australia. Despite having met Hunim and Vanunu at the airport when they arrived in London and receiving assurance from Hunim that he would get his money, sold the story to the tabloid Sunday Mirror, whose owner was Robert Maxwell. In 1981, a self-described former Mossad officer or government translator named Ari Ben-Menashe claimed that Maxwell, allegedly an agent for Israeli intelligence services, had tipped off the Israeli embassy about Vanunu in 1986. In sharing his story with the Sunday Mirror, Guerrero forfeited the agreed-upon payment of $25,000 from the Sunday Times. Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, like, this guy, Ari Ben-Menashe, also not a very trustworthy dude, believe it or not. But, that's really small for you guys. Let me zoom in a bit. But yeah, there is a bit of a crossover here. Yeah. It does seem like he was involved. It seems like, people make these allegations. But I'm just cautious here. Like I say, I try to, I don't know. I don't like to say that something is absolutely proven to be true when it's not 100%. I mean, sometimes I get excited and it gets better at me and I say shit's true and it's not, but I try not to do that. So that's why I'm sort of cautious about saying that Maxwell was Mossad. But if you ask me my opinion, I'd say, yeah, I think he was probably at least an asset. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Moving on here. Barack suggested instead a surgical strike on, wait, where were we? Were we 5 years backwards? Oh, yeah, I think that's where we left off. The possibility of strikes should not be rhetorically holstered, he wrote. It may finally, later down the stream, be the only language Iran understands. Oh, my God. Of course. Typical Israeli diplomacy. The only language Iran understands. Bombs. He sent the article to Epstein shortly after it was published and asked to speak on the phone. The same day, he sent a video of Bill Clinton discussing negotiations over North Korea's nuclear program in 1994. Barack wrote a note about Clinton's video in an email to another colleague. Obama is highly vulnerable among Democrats on the Iran issue. Clinton, 21 years ago, talked of North Korea, but exactly the same words. North Korea is now a nuclear player. Barack once again leaned on Epstein to get a line to Moscow before the Iran nuclear deal was finalized. He visited New York City from April 21st to April 24th, where he received Epstein's help to once again attend the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum that summer. The SPIEF. Epstein connected Barack to Sergei Belyakov, former Russian economic minister with ties to Russian intelligence, to help Barack get an invitation and set up meetings with senior Russian officials. Epstein also directed Barack to convey that senior Russian officials, including Putin, should also contact Epstein directly for meetings. Epstein wrote on April 23rd, 2015, I spoke to Sergei. He will help. I suggest you send him a note that states that you think Putin and his advisors would benefit from spending some time with Jeffrey to discuss markets, currency, and the financial system in the new world of zero interest rates. I think that is so fucking crazy. Hang on. And that I am not political. He has to answer certain questions. So he is telling, okay, get this, guys, get this. He's telling fucking Ehud Barak to talk to Putin and say, you need to talk to Jeffrey to discuss markets, currency, and the financial system in the new world of zero interest rates. Right? This is another thing I bring up all the time, but remember that fucking letter that Lynn Forrester sent to Bill Clinton. Here we go. Reddit. This is from Lynn Forrester, now Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, but before she married to Evelyn Rothschild, she sent this letter to Bill Clinton. It was such a pleasure to see you recently at Senator Kennedy's house. There was too much to discuss and too little time. Using my 15 seconds of access, so she could only got to talk to Clinton for 15 seconds, and she said, here's what I'm going to talk about. Jeffrey Epstein and currency stabilization. Jeffrey Epstein and currency stabilization. And now look at this. Hey, fucking Ehud Barak, if you get 15 seconds of access with Putin, can you ask him to call me to discuss markets, currency, and the financial system of the new world of zero interest rates? And I'm not political. He has to answer certain questions. Doesn't that seem like a similar thing? Doesn't he seem like a similar thing? I feel like we're like I feel like this is even bigger than we know about Epstein, the way that Epstein would kind of play off of his different connections to build more connections. Gideon's Spies. Oh, really? Okay. Mossad's Secret Warriors. So that's a book written by Robert Maxwell? Mossad's Secret Warriors. Oh, wait, by Gordon Thomas. Oh, wait, sorry. Well, who are you talking about? He literally wrote the book on spycraft, on Mossad spycraft. That's by... I thought you were saying that Robert Maxwell wrote the book on spycraft. Oh, you meant Ari Ben Menashe? Oh, okay. He was a source for that book. Is that what you mean? You can see he's highlighted here in my thing because he's connected to Epstein. But But yeah, he's also there. There's also the book, Robert Maxwell, Israeli Super Spy, which I think also quotes Super Spy. Robert Maxwell, Israel's Super Spy, the life and murder of a media mogul. Okay. Is this the one you're thinking of? Gordon Thomas? Anyways. All right. All right, moving on here. We are, how far are we into this? Not going to show me. Okay, we're almost done. We're just almost at the end here. This is a crazy article. I'm glad I didn't read it ahead of time, because now I'm learning all this shit with you guys, and I'm like, you get to see my reaction in the moment where I'm like, whoa, guys, that's nuts. That's crazy. That's so crazy and wild. Chat, put in the chat like words I can use instead of crazy. Apparently I say crazy too much. Epstein wrote on April 23rd, 2015, I spoke to Sergey. He will help. I suggest you send him, I'm making him sound too friendly. I suggest you send him a note that states you think Putin and his advisors would benefit from spending, read this already. Epstein's request to again add Barak came as the Israeli government was attempting to manage an increasingly delicate balancing act in its ties with Moscow and Washington. He added, when you receive the list of Russians from Sergey, he asked what we prioritize, who we would find most interesting. Interesting. See, this is going to be a email I think about a lot. I feel like this is him trying to be like, hey, tell him I'm a genius. Tell Putin I'm a genius and he needs to talk to me. Like, I'm sure the exact same strategy he'd used with Lynn Forrester. All right. As promised, Belyakov delivered at Barak a formal invitation to speak on a panel at SPIEF, St. Petersburg's International Economic Fuckheads, and a list of important names for Barak's consideration. In St. Petersburg in June 2015, Barak met with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Central Bank Governor Elvira Nabiullina, and other Russian elites. Elvira Nabiullina. That's a pretty name, actually. That's a pretty name. Who is that person? Let's find out. I'm imagining like a supermodel. Yeah, pretty much what I thought. Elvira Nabiullina. Nabiullina. Epstein was not merely a fixer for Barak, but also a friend and advisor who collaborated with him at high levels to promote Israeli security interests. The correspondence between Barak and Epstein, as well as publicly released information about Epstein's travel and activities during this period, point to a significant degree of collaboration between the two men involving numerous governments in negotiations intended to serve Israeli security interests. In a note sent by Barak to Epstein after the St. Petersburg Forum in 2015, he rattled off a long list of heads of state, senior officials, and business magnates he'd met, reporting great meetings with all. Around the same time, Epstein was known to have conducted meetings with several Obama administration officials, including former U.S. ambassador to Russia and later CIA chief William Burns, as well as Obama White House counsel Catherine Rumler. While shedding light on his efforts with Barak to secure Israeli interests in Syria, the emails leave open the question of other interactions that Epstein may have engaged in with U.S. and other government officials. So yeah, this is what we're saying here. All we got is the peek into the Israeli side. Fucking, can someone please hack Donald Trump's email? It's gotta be easy. It's gotta be easy. Try just like different ways of spelling Ivanka, all right? There's a way to get in that shit, okay? You got Podesta's shit. You got the DNC shit. Russia, if you're listening, WikiLeaks, Julian, DDoS secrets, distributed denial of secrets. I don't really know how to pronounce it. I always say DDoS secrets, but that's not right. Somebody, let's get the other fucking people in here. Let's get Bill Clinton's emails leaked. You know that shit wasn't on a private server either. God, we need more. We need more information here. While the collaboration between the two men did not depose Assad or trigger a U.S. attack on Iran, the negotiated outcome in Syria did reduce the perceived threat to Israel. And that's the funny thing. Yeah, Trump's password, grab him by the pussy. Yeah, try that. Yeah. Pussy with dollar signs. That is so Trump. That is so Donald Trump right there. That's got to be it. You really think Donald is CIA? I mean, I find that dubious, although possible. CIA informant or like an asset, maybe. Honestly, I do think Trump is more likely an asset to Russia, maybe even Israel, if these countries have, compromat on him from Epstein. But I mean, I don't know. He may have done some work for the CIA. I don't know if he was a CIA officer. You think Trump? What's your case for that? DDoS wanted. He was turned quite quickly. They came up on Miller because they were watching him in Russia. Who was? Which Miller? Stephen Miller? TJ Miller? The Jason Sudeikis movie, We're the Millers? Bibbly babbly boo. Where were we? Okay, we're almost done, guys. Don't worry. We're gonna get through this. We almost have already done that. You can tell they're wrapping up here. They're saying what we were saying earlier. Epstein had, helped make Barack a wealthy man shortly after he left his role as defense minister in a collaboration that would last for years. We only know what he was doing with Israel. We don't know what he was doing for the U.S. or Russia or any other government. While the collaboration between the two men did not depose, blah, 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 they also succeeded in opening a diplomatic channel between Moscow and Tel Aviv that will be vital for the next decade of war. So, even if their specific goals did not technically achieve the end result that they wanted, they did set up these back channels that would continue to be used. So even though the strings that Epstein's pulling maybe weren't totally getting him what he wanted, he was at least setting up the strings. Super interesting. Super interesting. A day after sending his summary of the St. Petersburg trip, Barack messaged Epstein again to reaffirm his gratitude. Thanks for setting the whole thing together, man. Hi, Jeff. Great meetings. Met Sergey. Thanked him for everything. I met SS. Expressed interest in finding... Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. I met SS. He expressed interest in finding some area for actual cooperation. Proposed that we discuss it with you. Blah, 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 blah. Let's stay in touch. Late next week, we're in New York. I love you, bro. And then this is like when you send 2 texts in a row when you're starting the talking stage with somebody and you send them a long thing and they don't respond and you're like, oh fuck, I should have said this. I should have said something else. Oh God, I forgot to say thank you. Okay. And it's been a little while later. It's another day. Hi, Jeff. Just thanks for saying the whole thing together. Jeff, no capitals, fucking bizarre grammar. Of course, comma, space. Glad you found it useful. No peer. Oh, God. And then Ehud Barak. Yes, I did. Very much so. You would never guess which one of these guys speaks English as a second language. That's it. That's the article. That was wild, eh? Gotta say. That's pretty insane. Trump was probably a BS FBI informant, a dupe, a decoy. Could be. Putin turned Donald using prostitutes of Eastern Bloc women in the 70s, early 80s. Yeah. I mean, I think that's possible. Certainly, in New York around the time that Trump was coming up, he was mingling with a lot of Russian oligarchs and intelligence guys who were sort of just trying to acquire him as an asset. And they found it very easy to get information from him because he would just brag about shit. Stephen Miller, really? Wait, what was it that you said about Stephen Miller earlier? he was turned quite quickly. They came up on Miller because they were watching him in Russia. Wow. Okay. Cool. I mean, I hadn't heard any of this stuff, but could I can see it. We should go into that further later. I think Jeff realized Donald was working for Russia as a double spy when she bought that house out from under him. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like, yeah, the house that Epstein and Trump were fighting over appears to have possibly been financed by Russia, and then it was, of course, purchased from Trump by a Russian oligarch. I think like a year after he bought it. So yeah, Trump also had connections to a lot of the same guys that, Epstein was dealing with here. Where were we? There we go. Goblin only. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Cool. Classic Alex Jones tune. Donald's the sole owner of a former CIA admitted front company. Oh, which one is that? Plaza Hotel? Which one? Apparently, there are two different authors named Robert Maxwell, neither of which is the guy I'm looking for. So Google is zero help if anything I'm looking for. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I wasn't aware that Robert Maxwell, like Ghislaine's dad, had written a book about Mossad. I mean, there have been books written about him and Mossad, like most famously Robert Maxwell, Israeli super spy, or Israel's super spy, I think it's called, which we were just looking up. And people like Ari Ben-Menashe have talked about him being whatever, secretly working for Mossad. And like I said, there's a bunch of suspicious shit with his connections to Mossad. And I think for me, the craziest one is Israel insisting that he be buried there and saying the world will never know what he did in Israel or what he did for Israel. But hey, who knows, like it could be anything, right? Little vampire potbelly goblins are hobbling around coming after us. I mean, okay, I like the sound of that. That sounds so weird, right? How did that happen? How did what happen? The potbelly goblins? Sorry, I got to go back. What did you say? Don's the sole owner of CIA admitted front company. Which one? Let me know. Thank you for the bless you. Ghislaine's daddy. Okay. Ghislaine. That's not how you say it. Not Jeff. Lols. Oh, did I say Ghislaine's dad? Or did I say Jeff's dad? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Robert Maxwell, of course, is Ghislaine's father. Going to need to read it again to keep all these guys straight. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, this article, there's a lot of names in here that I'm not familiar with. All these like Russian guys. I'm like, wait, why are they introducing this guy? Didn't we already meet him? Oh, that was a different fucking Sergey or whatever. Like it's a little bit confusing. But I think it's kind of like watching like a fucking HBO show. Like the first time you watch The Wire, right? You don't necessarily need to know what everyone's name is, but you can get a sense of like what the hierarchies are, where the connections are being made, who's in trouble, what's going on. You get a vague sort of sense of it. And once you've really kind of become accustomed to it and gotten into it, then you can actually follow the character relationships and everything. But I feel like from reading this article, I got a good sense of like, actually, Epstein was doing fucking like conspiracy shit. This was a guy who was making geopolitical moves from his fucking pedophile palaces around the world, would occasionally whip out his phone and be like, yeah, here's how we're going to fucking do interference in Syria right now. Yeah, let me hook you up with my bro, fucking Putin. Let me hook you up with fucking Bill Clinton. Let me hook you up with this. Let me hook you up with that. Sort of like what we went over earlier, one of the Bloomberg articles about him putting some pressure on Mandelson to get his one of his lawyers, Pretzkowitz, I think his name was, in the room with George W. Bush. Like he's making moves. He's making his connections. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And Epstein may have not been the fucking smartest guy in the world, but that guy knew how to work his connections. That guy knew how to make his network work. Is there like a cooler way to say that? That guy knew how to make his network get work done. I don't know. That's not quite right either. was trying to think of something that could be on like a hustle culture meme or t-shirt or something like that. But yeah. I speak 11. You speak 11 languages? Damn. That's crazy. Polyglot over here. And play Sons of the Forest. Should I give her $10? I don't play that game, but I think you should get it. Yeah. $10 is not that much. Trump overpromised Putin he wanted to impress. Yeah. You think? I feel like he gave Putin pretty much everything he wanted, right? Trump stakes the CIA front. Snapping Slim Jim. Gilan's dad is the reason college books cost so much. That is fucking, oddly enough, that is true. Maxwell originally got his fortune after World War II from being in post-Nazi regime Berlin and hooking up with the scientists there who'd been doing work, but that wasn't getting published. And he was like, yo, don't just give this shit away. We're going to sell it. And then he managed to use his kind of business acumen or whatever, business sense, to work that into a giant science publishing empire. Also, weirdly enough, at least according to Guillen, this empire that he ran of science publishing basically like invented, like, you got to pay to be able to read this shit in the science world. This is also how Epstein ended up meeting a lot of scientist friends, according to Guillen, is that, well, my father worked in scientific publishing, so that's how I was able to connect Epstein to all of these science guys. I don't think she said science guys. I don't think he met Bill Nye. But, I mean, he might have. Bill Nye seems cool, but... I think he wrote 6'7". Nice. Maybe a textbook or academic text? Robert Maxwell? I mean, I think he bought he started the textbook publisher, or whatever it was. However, he got control of it when he was like pretty not rich, like after the World War, when he was just finished being like a fucking wartime spy / war criminal. He made a fortune off of that fucking business, but he wasn't an academic himself. He didn't go to university for shit. He was a natural, bullshit artist, a con man, very similar to Epstein. Grew up dirt poor, became unfathomably rich, and at the end of his life ended up fucking losing a lot of his money and a lot of fucking failed business maneuvers and stealing money from his employees' pensions. Yeah, real piece of shit. Yeah, not just knowing them, but having them owe him favors, and that is another thing. That's another thing, and I think it's a lot of things, right? It's like, maybe they owe him favors because he's hooked them up with people in the past, right? Maybe they just want to stay in his circle, in his orbit, because they know that he is a central node to all of these other people that they want to be in touch with. Maybe they understand that he probably has blackmail material on them. I think that's probably a thing too, right? I don't want to piss this guy off because this guy, he does have cameras in all of his rooms. Yeah. It's interesting. I remember someone saying he literally wrote the book on spycraft, and they showed a clip of a professionally bound book. Don't remember the title. He may have published it with his own company. Okay, yeah. I mean, I could see that. I had never heard of that before. If you find it though, let me know, because I would be very curious to take a look at that. I would fucking read that shit. Yeah. Heavy into Harvard and MIT. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that Ghislaine maybe overstated that, but she has claimed that some of his scientist friends, at least, were from her father's scientific publishing company. I mean, I could see that. I mean, I think part of the reason Epstein wanted Ghislaine as a girlfriend / accomplice was because of all of her connections. And she had connections to the world of high society in England and in New York. She had connections to the scientific publishing community. She had connections to the spy world through her father. even if it wasn't directly through her, he could drop her name, right? He'd be like, oh, well, my girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, maybe you know her father, Robert Maxwell, blah, 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 blah. Like, I believe that part of the appeal for him and the reason why she was sort of his most public-facing girlfriend was because of her connections and what she could get him. A lot of very prized physicists know Jeff. A lot of fucking prized academics in general. I mean, Dershowitz is a Harvard professor as well. We got Chomsky. We got Steven Pinker. But yeah, lots of physicists. Your Lawrence Krauss, your Lawrence's Krauss, I should say. Like there's more than one. Marvin Minsky, the godfather of AI, definitely, allegedly was also involved in, having children trafficked to him for the purposes of sex. Received massages at Epstein's place, accused by Virginia Giuffre. This is the godfather of AI, Marvin Minsky. Mandelbrot, the guy that did the fucking thing you look at when you take mushrooms. He knew Epstein. He wrote Epstein a birthday message. Yeah. I don't know. A bunch of shit. But if there are actual accusations that somehow escaped their bubble, those are the people to watch. That's why I don't think Clinton did anything. Being at a party with Epstein's nothing. That was part of his operation. Yeah. True. What did Finland send us? Oh, wait, who's this? Eugene Merman. Cool. Okay. I thought is this supposed to have something to do with Epstein? Or are you just connecting Neil deGrasse Tyson to the Bob's Burgers cast? When was this? 2014? We got pictures of Andrew. We got allegations of Trump. We got allegations of Dersh. So there was a moment where David, what the fuck is his name? The guy from National Enquirer. His last name's like Prickhead or something like that. What the fuck? National Enquirer. Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting that you guys can't see what I'm looking at. Yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson and Eugene Merman. The voice of the kid on Bob's Burgers. But wait, who's the guy that runs National Enquirer? It's David Prickhead? David Penis? What the fuck is it? David Pecker. Oh, okay, I knew it was some dick name. David Pecker. Yeah. So he was, thanks MJF. Sorry, I should check the chat more. But this dude met with, during the Trump campaign, he met with, and let me see if I can find the Daily Beast article about this. According to several people who were at this meeting, David Pecker, Trump Tower, Roger Stone, Michael Cohen, meeting. Donald Trump, David Pecker, Trump trial testimonies. Michael Cohen would direct him. So if you've read the book Catch and Kill, about mostly about Harvey Weinstein, but they also do mention that like Donald Trump would do the same strategy where a story would come out and then he'd use his network to buy the story and then crush it and just never release it. And David Pecker, who owned National Enquirer, would do that for Trump. And he did that with Stormy Daniels' case, where he bought the story, this work that was being done about Stormy Daniels, and then he crushed it during the election. And there was a meeting. I thought it was Daily Beast article. Maybe it was Rolling Stone. There was a meeting that was confirmed from multiple people. Well, here's a Daily Beast article. Tabloid boss David Pecker dishes on killing Trump love child rumor. So there was it's a story that we never heard because it got buried. Hang on. I do have this in my, I did talk about this in my my one video. One sec. This is my... Well, maybe I shouldn't let you guys look at all of my Google Docs. Maybe there's some secrets in there. Probably not, though, to be honest. But I do have in my Trump Epstein sources. Here we go. My Trump Epstein sources, I have Pecker, the article. Yes, here it is. Oh, it was in Newsweek. Oh, that's why I couldn't find it. Wait, is that right? Yeah. Ronan Farrow claims National Enquirer tried to protect him in new book. National Enquirer helped Donald Trump bury allegations that he raped a teenager in 1984. That's the Katie Johnson stuff. Farrow claims in the book that AMI CEO David Pecker was in close contact with Trump when the rape allegations were made public in a 2016 lawsuit. Oh, geez, this isn't... I don't think this is going to be... Oh, maybe this is the thing. No, this is not the one I was thinking of. Oh, did I not put the right thing in there? Yeah. Sorry, this is it. Vanity Fair. That's what it was. Okay, found it. Okay, so here's the article I was looking for. So this is interesting. So in regards to MJF, you were saying like we don't have proof with Clinton. We don't have photos of Clinton. So this is interesting. And I got to do my little hop over the paywall here. Trump said that Pecker. So in the months before he ran for president, Donald Trump was in conversation with National Enquirer owner David Pecker. This is in 2015. This is before Trump came down the escalator and was like, hey, I'm running for president now. He met with David Pecker to be like, and this was after the National Enquirer had run, and I got the picture right here. This is after the National Enquirer had run the photo of Virginia Giuffre and Prince Andrew. 2015. And he met with David Pecker about his old acquaintance, Jeffrey Epstein, and how his sexual abuse scandal might affect the Clintons. Trump said that Pecker had told him that the pictures of Clinton that Epstein had from his island were worse. Recalls a former Trump organization employee. So, and you can sort of tell, so he met with Pecker. Pecker brought with the meeting a copy of the article. They probably have it. No, they don't. But it was the article that had this photo in it from the National Enquirer. And he was like, I guess I could just find it. Where was it? Trump had been following the story closely. In the week or so leading up to his CPAC speech, David Pecker, who owned the Enquirer until it was sold in ruin earlier this year, visited Trump on the 26th floor of Trump Tower, bringing along an issue with a Prince Andrew and Epstein-related cover, according to people familiar with the meeting. Pecker, of course, was in the business of protecting Trump. An early supporter of his presidential campaign, Pecker has helped catch and kill at least 2 stories involving the real estate mogul and women who claims to have had affairs with him. Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, who would later go to prison in part for his role in these hush money schemes, was in the room when Pecker sat down. Pecker, he later told me, used to send him articles and issues before they were published so that he and Trump could read them. When it said earlier up here, when it said, according to people familiar with the meeting, those people were Michael Cohen and Sam Nunberg. A Trump organization employee saw Pecker leaving Trump's office. Michael was sitting in there when I came in, and the issue of National Enquirer with the pictures of Prince Andrew was on his desk, Nunberg recalled. He said not to tell anyone, but that Pecker had just been there and brought the issue with him. Trump said that Pecker told him that pictures of Clinton that Epstein had from his island were worse. Now, right after this meeting was CPAC, and on stage at CPAC, Sean Hannity asked Trump, hey, buddy, what do you think about Clinton? And Trump says, well, I think he's got a lot of problems on his island. A little bit of problems on his on that island with his friend Jeffrey Epstein or something like that. But he mentioned Jeffrey Epstein, which is weird for Trump. But he was using it to smear Clinton. And it was right after this meeting with Pecker. So it seems like Pecker was like, we've got worse pictures of Clinton than we do of Prince Andrew. That might have been the massage picture of Clinton getting the massage at the airport. Might have been something else. Release the Chill Goblin Google files. That's funny. Pecker would have run with those Clinton pictures if they existed. I mean, yeah, that's not a bad point. I don't know. You think the golden shower ones are real? I mean, that doesn't seem so bad to me. That's fine. Actually, there's nothing wrong with that. Corroborated Nunberg's version of events, though he declined to add any additional information about the meeting. There is another interesting thing here. Where is it? Stone was there, right? Oh, nothing about Stone in here? Okay, well, there's some... Fuck, I don't know exactly where it would be. Yeah, we don't know exactly where... I don't know exactly where it would be, but there's some speculation that Roger Stone was also at this meeting. And if you look at some of Stone's appearances on InfoWars, and my friend Presidential Penis has done a lot of research on this. Actually, why don't I just dig that shit up? Hang on. I gotta go goblin only here because I gotta go into my DMs. But he's done some work to... Hang on. No. Oh, God. Come on now. I really hate the way that Reddit does their DMs. It's really, really hard to... navigate. Okay, hang on, guys. But no, this will be worth it. This will be worth it. This will be worth it, I hope. Epstein Trump connections. Oh boy. Okay. There is a thing that he's done on this. Okay, yeah, let's look at this. I think this is it. Sorry about that, guys. So this is a thread from a friend of the stream, Presidential Penis, who I've worked with on a lot of my Epstein research. He's one of the mods on the R Epstein subreddit. So here he is. At the annual Conservative Political Action Conference, Trump brought up Epstein and Clinton's relationship. It's been reported that Trump met with AMI CEO David Pecker in the weeks leading up to the conference and discussed copies of the National Enquirer's coverage of Prince Andrew scandal. Trump said that Pecker had told him that pictures of Clinton that Epstein had from his island were worse. Recalls a former Trump Organization employee. These claims are corroborated in Roger Stone's October 2015 book, The Clintons' War on Women. So this is a book Stone wrote. I don't think it came out in October 2015, but would it have? I think the time seems a little bit off to me here. I think it came out a little bit after that. Anyway, whatever. The Clintons' War on Women. A former editor of the National Enquirer told us that, okay, there you go. His reporters had learned that Maxwell has retained a photo of former President Bill Clinton in a compromising position with a 17-year-old. I say corroborated because Stone had pointedly targeted Bill Clinton's ties to the scandal only a few weeks before CPAC in the Daily Caller. And in a November 2016 InfoWars segment, let slip. So this is crazy. So there's a November 2016. This is like right during like Pizzagate, right? November 2016, around the election. He goes on InfoWars, he talks to Alex Jones, and he mentions, so he doesn't actually mention specifically Bill Richardson and George Mitchell. But, so we now know, so we found out in like 2019 that Virginia Giuffre had accused these Democrat politicians, Bill Richardson and George Mitchell, of, sexually assaulting her. Does he what is he linking to here? Oh, it's the InfoWars thing, but it's not online. Okay. That is what I wanted to find. But there is a I'm sure he has another fucking page where he's like talking about. Can I search through his comments and stuff? Is there a way to do that on Reddit? Yeah, there is. Okay, hang on. Eric Prince. There it is. Here it is. Here's the fucking mother load here. Hang on. I'll just skip to the part where he goes to it. Stone. Roger Stone, libertarian swinger. Stone. Sorry, we're almost here, guys. Okay, so I guess he doesn't have the quote, but yes. So in late December 2014, oh, here it is. Okay, watch this. In late December 2014, survivor Virginia Roberts Giuffre joined Bradley Edwards' Crime Victims' Rights Act case as Jane Doe number 3 and reiterated her 2011 claims in the Daily Mail that she had seen Bill Clinton on Little St. James with Epstein, Maxwell, Sarah Kellen, and 2 17-year-old girls from New York. She also did another round of media interviews, one with Amy Robach, suppressed by ABC, and a few with David Pecker's America Media Inc., AMI, published in their flagship National Enquirer and their once Epstein-funded gossip rag Radar Online. These interviews mainly concerned Prince Andrew, but Clinton gets a mention too. Immediately after these interviews, Pecker was going around telling people, including Trump, which we just went over with the Vanity Fair article, that there existed a photo of Bill Clinton in a compromising position with a minor. That is, Stone explicitly states these allegations in the Clintons' War on Women, which we saw the quote, and a similar account is provided by former Trump advisor Sam Nunberg, corroborated by former Trump attorney Michael Cohen from prison in a 2019 Vanity Fair piece. David Pecker, by the way, is a known blackmailer, and his media organization AMI were heavily implicated in protecting Harvey Weinstein from allegations of sexual abuse, as well as at least 2 catch-and-kill schemes to quash scandals implicating then presidential nominee Trump, Ronan Farrow's catch and kill. Blah, 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 blah. All this is to say, Virginia told Pecker what she knew about Clinton, and Pecker passed these accounts on to Trump, Stone, and company, who started seeding them through the right-wing media sphere. Okay, right? Hang on. I want to... Bill Clinton, Fairbanks, alt-right, Katie Johnson. Oh, is this it? Money laundering. Oh, let me say, okay, sorry. I'm looking for the part where he lets slip the thing with, yes, here we go. Okay. So here it is. Sorry, this is what I was looking for this whole time. During his interview segment on InfoWars, Roger Stone was laying out his case against Hillary and drops a fucking bombshell. This was November 2016. This is Stone's words, and it's very clear this fellow Epstein was trafficking young men and young women to super elites, many whose names you'd recognize. At least one former Democratic U.S. senator, at least one former Democratic governor, a couple cabinet officers, some athletes, some scientists, some bankers, some very well-known, A-list celebrity types. This is fucking Roger Stone. This guy can't keep his mouth shut. When he knows something secret, he will let it slip. And he mentions at least one former Democratic U.S. senator, that's George Mitchell, and at least one former Democratic governor, that's Bill Richardson. And this is in 2016 on InfoWars, Roger Stone saying this shit. And it seems like he knew about George Mitchell and what's the other guy's name? Bill Richardson. Which we only, so then he goes on to say, presidential penis, we, the public, learned about the allegations against former Democratic Senator George J. Mitchell and former Democratic Governor Bill Richardson in the Giuffre versus Maxwell unsealing in 2019. Is this Roger Stone 3 years beforehand hinting at insider knowledge? Is that you again, Mr. Pecker, passing on what Virginia told you to Trump and co.? Interesting. Yeah, I think that's got to be it. Crazy. All right, guys. I don't know. I don't really know what point I was trying to get at there, but that was kind of interesting, right? I think I'm gonna call it. I think I'm gonna call it a night. I'm a little bit sleepy. But crazy article, drop site. They do good work. They do good work over there, particularly on a lot of Israel-Palestine coverage. Some people do think that they're I don't know, compromised in various ways. But Roger Stone's a bad friend. Yeah, I would say that's true. Guys, as always, thank you for watching. You're the best. You're the best around. Nothing's going to take you down. And I